you getting yourself ready for our show?
Alrighty, guys, Jigs and Bigs. We got a great show lined up for you guys. It's Bobby Roast Beef. I got Joe Brown and I got Shawn the Fisherman with us. And guys, this week I've got a great show lined up. We've got a handful of things that are going on. First and foremost, there was some crazy shit that happened in Foxbor recently, and I'm not talking about the New England Patriots whatsoever. We got a special kind of FTG to talk about. We've got all kinds of good stuff in our second segment as well. A Joe Brown original Just the Tip, and in our Gear of the Week, we're going to get to some stuff you're going to want to know about. Joe's actually reporting on that. We got Carter Hewitt in the house in the beef seat as our interview guest this week. He is Real SD Outdoors on Instagram. He's got a great story about how he really developed a passion for fishing for pike and bass ever since his father passed in 2018. We're going to talk about his fishing preferences and also kind of his goals for the future. We also have some information about the 200th episode that is coming up. We have a big event planned for that and want to know, why the hell haven't you gotten tickets yet? You're possibly going to miss out. We've also got information about a really, really good collaboration that's happening with Dark Horse Tackle and Jigs and Bigs. Guys, go ahead, get yourself something good to enjoy. We got all kinds of info, too, about a wacky little live stream that happened last night. Man, you don't want to miss it. Jigs and Bigs is starting right after this. I love this. We got a bunch of jig heads already joining us. We got Jay Manning in the house. Yes, is this thing on? This thing is on now. Now we are on officially. Pat Martin's with us, says good evening, fellas. And we got Jay Bass, and he also says good evening. Man, what an amazing, amazing week. A busy week with lots and lots of crazy shit going on. The feedback about that story time with Lockwood segment from last week's show has been awesome. Like some of you guys reaching out, just a quick little message going like, I can hang with Lockwood. That lets me think that maybe we might have more story time segments from other folks than just Lockwood. What did you guys think about that?
It was great. It was great. I loved it. I loved it.
I will say this. I took some time. Some of those sound effects didn't exist. So, you know, I mean, full disclosure with the beef curtain being pulled wide open right here. For a lot of the music and sound effects that we use on the show, I use Epidemic Sound, right? Epidemic Sound is a great resource for all types of content creators that need audio. And as a podcast, that is, you know, primarily audio, you know, that's our best foot and we're putting it forward. I use a lot of that stuff. The part in the storyline where it got sexual, I had to actually create that entire series of sound effects because it's not like I had like LSD fueled orgy as an option to select when it came to putting this together. So I had to find all of these moans and sighs and all this other stuff. I mean, even when Tourette's Timmy kicked open the door and screamed out loud with the Utz chip bag on his head, which I could not get AI to say the right way. It just said UTZ every time I did it, so I just went with it. When he kicked open the door and screamed, it was like, oh, it was amazing. I had fun editing that one. It was kind of like my Sistine Chapel. You know what I mean?
That's good. What do they call those people in the movies that all they do is they fucking make the noises, the background noises?
Like the guy's got a giant piece of sheet metal and it's a thunderstorm.
Yeah, that's it, dude. Oh, I know they have a name. I can't think of them. That might be your next career path.
It might be. It was just layers of different. I'm like, yeah, that kind of works here. We'll put this together. And I was on the phone with people. Like when I was doing that, you know what? Do I have the audio for what did I call it? I think I called it Sexy Time. I think that's what it was. Man, I forget what it was. If I can find it, I'll go ahead and slip it into another segment, maybe in Just the Tip, you know. We'll see how it all works. But man, what a wild ass week. What did you guys do this week? Anything interesting?
For me, not really, man. A little bit of cleanup in the garage around like trying to organize the fishing shit, like getting prematurely getting ready for next season, I guess.
Yeah,
but,
you got to.
Dude, part of me wanted to rip the boat out today so bad.
Oh,
I wanted to take it out today so bad. I didn't. But no, so I just been doing a lot of getting ready for, I was like fucking a million different stores over the last couple of days getting ready for that wedding in Mexico I have this week. So, yeah.
That's coming up quick. I didn't realize it was so soon. That's awesome.
Yeah, we leave Thursday. So.
No shit.
Yeah. Yeah. So pumped for that.
That's awesome, dude. I think you're going to have an absolute blast.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
My goodness. My goodness. Shawn, what about you? How was your week this week?
Unbeknownst to most folks, after we stopped recording last week, I walked into a time machine and just came out of it right now. That's how it feels.
Yeah.
Because this week was so busy for me with all sorts of everything. I had a large number of house projects that involved contractors that I've been knocking out.
Oh, Jesus.
Just one by one by one. And it's been good. I like the guys that I work with for contractors. So just getting them in and knocking shit out has been just time consuming, but
for sure,
we're getting there.
Yep.
On top of that, all these contractors had to know that, hey, I have to leave at a certain time for basketball practice every day.
Yeah.
Some days I have two of them. And the way this week worked out was actually kind of monumental in my development as a coach for basketball, because Thursday we had a season opening tournament night one, which, with me being the JV coach and the assistant varsity coach, Coach and I talked strategy and really looked at it. It was an unknown team. We never played them before. So we said, let's see how it goes. We have no idea. And actually our first four games, whole bunch of teams that we've either never played before or had significant lineup changes that we have, and we just have no idea.
No idea what you're walking into. Yeah.
Yeah. Could go 0-4, could go 4-0, or somewhere in between. And what ended up happening was Thursday was a blowout in our favor, which was fantastic. So we advanced to the final. And then Friday night, magic happened. Unfortunate magic, and then magic. I got a call about 10 minutes before tip-off. The head coach was not driving up with us. I drove the van with the kids to get to the game, and he had an issue that prevented him from getting to get to the game. And he said, "You got to coach it tonight." And I said, "All right." So I went into my first varsity game 10 minutes beforehand, not knowing I was coaching against a team that played rabid man-to-man defense.
Yep.
And I had to draw shit up on the fly. And I'm 1-0 with a tournament championship in an overtime game. As a coach, I have to say I'm very lucky. We have two extremely talented offensive players on our team, and then everybody on the team played defense, and we shut this team down, and it was fantastic. So that was Friday night, and then Saturday, as if things weren't going to slow down. Yesterday, I woke up, had a basketball game with the fifth graders, got out of that, went to the Loaded Potatoes birthday party.
That's right. You mentioned
one of our jig heads. Happy birthday to the Loaded Potato.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not going to say how old he is, but we went out there. He had his actually, Joe, he had his party in your neck of the woods. We went over to Treehouse in Charlton.
Oh, nice.
Okay. Yeah. Yep.
Did that. Stopped in for an hour. Saw a couple of co-workers. Had a great time. Then had to leave. Drove back to my house, and I had to sit down with a poster.
Oh,
I drew out a poster. Because then my oldest son and I drove down to Bridgeport, Connecticut, which is almost New York City as far as I'm concerned.
Oh,
it's close enough. And we had the WWE NXT pay-per-view we were at last night. I was on camera a few times. Unfortunately, I was upper. It wasn't those great seats we had for Raw in Boston in March. It was the first. We were in front of the camera, but the first row up. So the whole night when I was rewatching the pay-per-view today to see if they caught my sign at all. And I was in the upper right-hand corner of my television pretty much the whole time. So I got home at midnight 30, 1 o'clock, something like that last night. Woke up again, another game with the fifth graders. By the way, they won their two games, which was good. And they're really starting to come together as a team. I got a couple of leaders that have emerged, and I'm making sure they're keeping everybody in line. You got to be here. You got to be there. And that's where you got to start. And so basically 4 days in a row, 4 basketball games. Part of, I went 4-0.
That's awesome,
which is pretty good.
Yeah.
Yep. And then we saw some wrestling. We ate some food, and here I am. Here we are.
Here we are.
Look at us.
Yeah. It's been a week. It has been a week. I'll tell you, dude, this is how I'm fully aware that winter is in full swing right now, because I fucked up. I had an opportunity that I could have fished, and just because this time of year just makes me so unbelievably lazy. I was like, I'm going to go out on Saturday. I'll do that. And I did. It was worth it. But I think I should have taken advantage and gone out on Friday as well. So let's back up to last week's show. Obviously, we recorded on Monday, edited all that greatness, put that all out, and everything was really good. Still, people are still buzzing, by the way, about the show that we did. That was the react to Ben Milliken's video. Still getting feedback from folks, and they're listening to it. This week, we had a massive spike in listens, not just, I think, from the interest of the story time with Lockwood, but also the previous week's show also still getting listens and like kind of blowing up. Pretty amazing. Tuesday, I started working on a couple of things for the 200th show. I had started reposting and looking to try to get audio from our following on Instagram and on Facebook to just kind of, sound off a little bit for a little bit of a pet project that I have going on. So basically what I'm doing is I'm asking listeners, past guests, everybody to just call the hotline, 413-324-8519. Essentially just like leave a message, either for the attendees that are showing up at the 200th show, or just about what you love about Jigs and Bigs. Like it doesn't have to be that complex. And really, I'm probably not going to use the whole message. Actually, the more I get, the more likely it is I won't use the whole message. I just want to clip parts of it out and put this little thing together for a little project that I'm working on. So we got a couple of folks that had called, a couple of great messages that I'm definitely going to be using the whole thing for. But I would love if you're listening to the show right now and you're like, yeah, I'd love to get involved with this and be a part of it. And please be a part of it. Give us a call on the hotline and leave a voicemail, 413-324-8519. In fact, I actually have to put that back in do not disturb mode, because this week's interview that I did with Carter Hewitt, I had to have him call the hotline for because Zoom was not cooperating for us. So it's nice to have that as a backup. It's a really, really, really good tool. A lot of other things that I had worked on. I had reached out with and had a good conversation with Doug Souza over at the Springfield Sportsman Show, the OSEG Springfield Sportsman Show. And I just touched base. I said, look, we'd like to do the same thing. We'd love to have a booth at your spot. We'll do some promotion and really push the Sportsman Show as much as we can. So we're going to be doing that again. I'm thinking that maybe we might do some kind of like another mailing list giveaway or something. We got some really, really good interaction, engagement with some folks doing that. And it was really nice to just meet listeners and stuff. So that is one of those. And I've had this question come up a lot. They're like, oh, are you guys going to come to this show? Are you guys going to come to this show? And the reality of it is like, we're doing the Columbus show because it's a collaboration with Dark Horse. We kind of have a role to play over there in their booth specifically. It's part of their plan. So I'm really excited about that. I'm stoked about it. Now, with the other shows, because we're a podcast, we don't really have something that we can, sell to offset the cost of doing some of these booths. We make an exception, obviously, for the Springfield Sportsman Show because it's right in our neighborhood. So that one kind of gets a pass. Columbus, again, is a little bit different because of the collaboration with Dark Horse. But for us to go to the Connecticut show and this other show, so a lot of these we'll just do a walkthrough and we won't have a booth at necessarily, but it's just another one of these sort of potential opportunities that we have to kind of show our faces and meet up with folks. So with the shows where we don't have a table, like we're going to post information about them, what days we'll be there, please come up and say hi. If we've got stickers available, we'll definitely hook you up with them. We're definitely all about taking pictures with listeners and all that kind of stuff and basically just creating as much content as we can. So we're down. We're into it. The other thing that I had done was I secured our actual booth for the Sportsman Show, which is awesome. We'll talk about that a little bit later. On Wednesday, I had something weird show up on Wednesday. And then since then, I've noticed this before. And I only bring this up because it's kind of fishing related. But listeners and jig heads especially, please chime in if you can relate to this. But So Wednesday night, I got home from work. I had dinner and set up a little session with some jigglers and hung out for a little bit with my dogs and my wife. And then I went to go. And as I was getting ready to go to sleep, I had the TV on. And I was watching a program on Hulu. And Hulu runs ads like broadcast television does. It's kind of old school that way. And I saw an ad for a prescription drug. And you know, like those prescription drug commercials, they always try to show like B-roll of people just living
their best life using whatever that substance may be.
They try to show people walking their dogs and at the park with their kids and having a picnic or a birthday party or something. Well, lots of times they include fishing with this. And I saw this one commercial, and there was this guy walking up to the bank at some body of water, and he casts this rod, the spinning combo, wildly, like he had never, ever, ever even seen an angler cast a fishing rod before. But he did it with the rod up, hanging up, upside down. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. Fishing is like the biggest pastime in the entire world. Nobody was on set to be like,
hey guys, can we get a take two? Can we get another take on that? This guy looks like an idiot, and he's going to get roasted in the comments.
Nobody had this way of thinking. And then I've seen multiple others that have popped up, and I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. So is this maybe a joke? Because I, having a little production background, I could see where somebody back there in the production team might be like, nope, let them do it upside down. It's fine. And inside they're like, knowing that it's going to cause a reaction from anglers that see this on TV, knowing. So I don't know what that is, but we had a little discussion about it before, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I couldn't believe it. Friday, I did a couple of things. Now, Friday was the day that I should have taken the opportunity to go out and do some fishing. Instead, I did some other work for the show. In fact, I did a live where I was talking about the 200th episode, trying to stir up some attention so that you guys realize the importance of getting your tickets ahead of time, because they won't be available at the door. So I did a live while I was running a couple of errands, and that errand that I was running, I was heading out doing my regular dispensary run, and I decided just for shits and giggles, let's do a dispensary unboxing. So I did in front of all the Instagram viewers. I showed them all of my wares and everything. And I did notice something. I rolled up to the dispensary. It was Theory Wellness, right? I did some chickabee shit, I go over to Theory, and I'm using the amazing medical drive-through that they have, which I think is the best feature of any dispensary I've ever encountered at all. So I go through, but right as I did, my live died. It's almost like they were like, no, this is sus activity. We're not going to allow it to happen. And as soon as I pulled away, I had my cell service back, and it was all good. It was kind of weird. So I went live. I did my unboxing. All that stuff was good. Saturday, I had recorded early with Carter. Had a great conversation with him, man. He's got some good stuff. You're going to like this interview. It's a lot of fun. We just kind of went in all different directions. And then I took a little bit of a bank send, and I went to fish a really small river nearby to me that I've been looking at on the map for a little while. And I just didn't even know like what the access was like or anything like that. But I'm like, I only have a few hours before I'm going to lose the sunlight. I'm going to go ahead and go and hit this place up. Found a couple of spots. There was a local who, as I parked on the side of the road, he came out, and I totally expected to get a hard time about where I was parked or something like that. Could not have been more wrong. This guy was so helpful. He was like, he's like, if you're going to fish in this one area, he's like, there's a little path right down here that you can walk down, and there's some stones that are like organized as like steps on the way down. He goes, on the other one, there's a big arrow pointing down, like, here's the trail, asshole. He's like, go ahead, just be careful, because that's just sharp rocks. Like it's pretty jagged. I was like, all right, cool, sounds good. He was so helpful. He's like, I got a map in my garage. I'll show you what you're working with. He comes over with a map of the area. I'm like, this is amazing. What a nice guy. Would have been nice if I got even a tap while I was over there. Threw a handful of baits, did not get so much as a sniff. I don't know where the fish were in this system. But as I was on my way there, there's a spot that I do fish regularly. And I decided I would go and hit it up because the previous weekend, it had skim ice. And on Saturday, it didn't. So I said, okay, I'm going to go ahead and we'll give it a send. I went over there and I got 2 taps. I got a tap as I was slow rolling a finesse swim bait on the bottom with a keel weighted hook, and got like a tap, I think right on the tail. Actually, I don't think it actually got the whole bait. So I tried to downsize a little bit, and I had a finesse jig, and I couldn't get a tap in that one area. I was fishing in another area, and I was just about to leave because my daughter had, and this is another one of those moments where I felt like Shawn the fisherman, because my phone rang and it was Dad, we're all set, come pick us up. So I was like, okay, cool. My youngest daughter had a holiday dance recital that she needed to do, and my wife and I made an agreement. She's like, I'll bring her, that way you can go out and fish as long as you can pick her up. So I was like, all right, cool. Have her text me when she's done dancing. I'll pack up my stuff and head over. So she texts me and she's like, Dad, I'm done. I was like, okay, I'll be on my way. And as I was burning this finesse jig back, it got smacked. Yeah, I was like, motherfucker. Oh, I'm like, that is, if I had the time just to follow up with even a cast of the same bait, I 100% would have. But I was like, of course, this is the way it is. I'm glad that I at least got a tap that they're alive. I like to check in on them every once in a while, make sure these fish are okay, because they've seen some shit, especially in this one area where I am, because they like to float this like pallet with like, it's almost like a floating dock. And then they have ropes that go down to hold it in place, and they run electric out there, and they have a Christmas tree lit up floating on the water. And it's cute, but I just imagine every once in a while you just see the fish like fly up because it just a little bit of a shock down there, So something makes contact that it shouldn't, and it, you get, a little bit of a jolt. But so that was my Saturday for the most part. I go and I pick up my daughter. I bring her home, and we have dinner and stuff. And then it's time to get ready for the live stream. I was on Binya Outdoors live stream on YouTube. The Spawn Podcast is what it's called, with PJ, his co-host PJ. Had a great time. I mean, we talked for almost 3 hours about all kinds of different shit. It was pretty good. And I did something. I made a decision that night. I was like, because we talked a little bit about podcasting, Binya and I, and like about like the inner workings of like how it all works and everything. And I just decided, man, I'm going to do something. I'm just going to be myself on this show. So I went and I had my Dynavap all in place, and I took a nice big nug of jigglers and ground it up all nice, and just through the entire show, if you go and listen to it, actually you can watch it on his YouTube channel, you can see me torching the end of my Dynavap and taking a rip. And I had a phone call from a fellow jighead today that had reached out and said, oh yeah, Bobby's ripping some jigglers. I'm gonna smoke along with him. And he got wrecked. And it was great. He's like, this is awesome. So maybe that'll be a new thing. I make an appearance on somebody's show, and I'll just, go through, and then you can smoke along with Bobby. It'll be like a game, It'll be fun. So yeah, that was kind of my deal. Pretty good stuff. Taking jiggler rips throughout. I think that's all I got. And then on Sunday, we finally put up our Christmas tree at the Beef House. Finally, we got a couple other decorations all set. My wife made an apple cranberry crisp. Which, I'm looking forward to diving into right after this show. That's my Sunday evening appointment right there. So that's what I got.
That's all for us. We'll see you at Jigs
have a
next
good night,
week, folks.
All right, everybody.
That's a wrap.
Oh no! It was a good week overall. I definitely got some stuff done, which was pretty awesome. I did a trivia night on Thursday night. It was another one of those beer promo nights at the Toasted Owl, and I was working actually with the Boston Beer Company, aka Sam Adams, and it's quite possible that they may be interested in getting involved with the 200th show as well. So that could be pretty freaking fantastic. I'm just hoping that we can have some awesome raffle prizes and stuff. But while we're talking about the 200th show, let's dive into it as far as like what's going on exactly. So it just dawned on me earlier this week that we're under 40 days away. Like it's getting close. We dropped episode 195 last Tuesday. This that you're listening to is episode 196. So like the 200th episode is like right there. It's like right there. It's ridiculous. We've got a bunch of people that have been buying tickets, and here's what I need to stress to everybody because of the nature of this event. Right now, if you go on to jigsandbigs.com and you click the banner to go to the Eventbrite and purchase tickets, you'll notice that tickets are available up until the day of. That is not accurate because I'm waiting to hear from Munich House about when they need a head count. The day that they need a head count is the day that tickets are no longer available. So if you're considering going, go to jigsandbigs.com and get your tickets right away. Do it right away. If you're a jig head and you're in here watching this show and you're like, where do I go? Just scroll through the Patreon. You'll see the link I put up there. You can go ahead and get your tickets, be ready to rock. And it's important because it kind of doesn't make any sense for us to allow people in to the show day of when we don't know if we're going to have enough food. You know what I mean? And they have to kind of adjust it. Like in this economy, especially, you know, it's not like they can say like, yeah, we're going to make a bunch extra, because what happens if they make that much and there's not enough people there? And, you know, it's like, that's just one more element that I don't want to have to deal with. I'm going to have enough going on day of to be able to figure out like, oh yeah, here, we need this much from you for the food or whatever. It's like, it's crazy. So yeah, it's just going to be insanity. The 200th show is January 13th. And like I said, your tickets are available at jigsandbigs.com. If you're following us on Instagram, you can also go to the link that's in our bio. That's our link tree. I don't know if anybody's familiar with our link tree, but our link tree, or what link tree is basically a service that allows you to create multiple links for all sorts of different stuff. And that's one of the other things I did this week was I cleaned up our link tree a little bit. On there, up at the very top, there's a banner you can click for your 200th episode tickets. You can get them right there from our link tree. So if you're on Instagram, you can just do it there. I've also got a link there for Omnia. You know, a link, you support us on Omnia, and it's got the information to use the 15% off for your first purchase with Omnia Fishing, Jigs, and that's ampersand Bigs first. And then we've got a link, of course, for Dark Horse Tackle. Now, Dark Horse Tackle has some interesting stuff that's going on right now. First off, you can obviously, as always, you can use your 15% off your very first box in a Weekend Warrior or Dabble Pack. We also have another promo code that's listed right there on our link tree for a BYOB. And you can save some money on a BYOB as well, which is fantastic. But the other thing to note is that now Dark Horse Tackle is set up so you can actually purchase individual baits. So if there's something that you see that you're like, I got that in this box and it was awesome, or maybe you wanted a different color or a different size, you can check their inventory and purchase these individual baits too. We recommend using that link that's in our link tree. That is an affiliate link. It'll let them know that, you know, you're purchasing through Jigs and Bigs, and that goes to help us and support us, and we appreciate that. We've also got another one for A-Bay Lure with their promo code Jigs and Bigs to save 20% on your order. We have a affiliate link that sends you over to Reaction Tackle as well. And then, you know, a couple other ones that are in there. We've got one to become our jig head, to sign up on our mailing list, links to our website. And then if you've never heard of the show and you would like to hear this, there's links to go to our show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, and then even just, you know, add the RSS to whatever podcast player you prefer. So everything that you really could possibly need from the show is available on our link tree. And I'm going to actually be embedding this into part of our website as well, so that this way you guys get access to kind of everything. So yeah, I mean, good stuff happening there. What else do we have going on? The Springfield Sportsman Show. God, that was a big part of it. A big part of this week was putting together that Springfield Sportsman Show, getting everything together there. I did schedule some time to have Doug on the program to talk, and I've actually got a couple of other really good interviews lined up that I'm excited about. We have an interview scheduled with Jeff and Paul from the Aggressively Average Anglers podcast, formerly Burley Fishing. Yeah, we're gonna do a little chit chat with them. That's actually happening next Monday. We'll be recording with them. Then I've got. Have you guys ever heard of Sarah Parvin?
Sarah the Closer.
Yeah, Sarah the Closer. So Sarah's going to be on the show, and for those that don't know about her, I think it's her and her father are currently working this project. They're trying to grow record size copper nose bluegill. And like I've been following her now for like the past like 6-8 months, something like that. And I have been seeing some of the stories of just, I mean, you hear the phrase dinner plate panfish. Like some of these fish are ridiculous looking.
Okay. Yeah. This fucking thing.
That's what I'm saying, dude. Look at that. I think that's the derp fish. It's crazy. So Sarah's going to be on the show.
Derp fish.
We're going to be talking everything that there is to be talking about, copper-nosed bluegill and other species. And I'm going to try to see if I can't inspire her to be part of the Jigs and Bigs multi-species scavenger hunt. And by the way, while we're talking about that, I put up a post this last week on Instagram, basically just saying like, man, I thought in October when I was like trying to track down those last species, like that crappie, especially in October, I was like, oh, I know this would be kind of nice to take a break, you know, not have to worry about this for a little while. Yeah, November was a nice break, but I want it back. I want to go and do some fucking multi-species fishing. This is ridiculous. It's killing me. So I kind of took it upon myself to kind of mention that like in April all the way till October, every single month, we're going to have a Jigs and Bigs multi-species scavenger hunt style tournament that's going to be available for you guys. And the more folks that we have enter and be a part of this, then, you know, that kind of gives us a little bit of leverage to also bring in additional partners and sponsors for that raffle portion. I think there's a lot of people that don't realize that raffle is going on unless they're engaged in it, you know, unless they're potentially winning. So, I mean, that's definitely something you can, you know, have a month long worth of fun and then just go for it. A couple of comments from our jig heads right here. Gravy Fishing says, evening, everyone. Joe, bring the stash back. How many people, Joe, have reached out to you about the stash?
Oh, too many.
Yeah.
Too many. Yeah. A lot. But it's been like 50-50. Some people are like, "Oh, I'm so glad you got rid of that thing." And others are like, "Bring it back."
Yeah.
So the reason why I don't have it essentially is at work, a very high ranking person was like, "Oh man, that's a good stash." I was like, "Oh, thank you." He's like, "It's wicked cool, but you kind of got to bring it in a little bit.
Fair
it's
enough.
A little out of reg." And I was like, and my fuck you to the military was, I'm just shaving it off.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you get all or nothing. Oh, yeah. I can't blame you for that, man. That's rough. Gravy says, winter. It's 50 degrees outside right now. Yeah, it is. It is 50 degrees. And actually, yesterday while I was out fishing, it was great. Even when the sun started going down, it wasn't freezing. I think we had a low of like 40. You know, it wasn't terrible. So I'll take that.
Yep.
I wore shorts last night to the wrestling.
Really?
Yeah, I was fine. Bobby, my son and I actually parked in the same lot that you and I, fleeced a bootlegger out of a Dream Theater shirt.
Oh,
and
okay.
The right next to the amphitheater that you and I went to is the arena where indoor events are held. And we were there last night, but I had no problems. It was 45, somewhere between 45 and 50 last night in Connecticut. So no
crazy.
biggie.
Yeah, because you're right over by the ocean too over there. So it was even warmer down there. That's nice.
But it was almost identical. I think it was a degree difference between my house and Southern Connecticut. It was fine.
Huh.
Yeah, everything was good.
Yeah, it was definitely nice. It's not going to get tomorrow. I think actually tonight it dips down pretty low, or maybe tomorrow it goes back a little bit back to normal. This is the shittiest time of year though if you're a fisherman in our area, because there's nothing worse than skim ice because you just can't do anything with that, you know.
Yep.
Like it's not safe enough to ice fish, but it just fucks everything up. So, yeah, it is rough, man. It is really rough. I am heading down south in February to fish with a listener, and that's going to be a kayak send. So I'm pretty stoked for that. And then I think in March, yeah, we were trying to plan this whole huge thing with the Dark Horse Tackle guys and the Jabber Hammer and Joe and myself. But they're unfortunately the Dark Horse guys have a lot on their fucking plate right now. Like this year,
They are busy.
Yeah, they have
busy.
a shit ton on their plate. So I totally understand.
Yeah.
I told Paul the Jabberhammer, I was like, dude, this is happening. Like we've been neglecting it for so long. I was like, let's just go ahead and do it. So he's gonna put together figure out a campsite, and we're gonna go down and send it and see what happens. So it could be a ton of fun. So I could be in the kayak in February and in March, and that would be absolutely beautiful. I would absolutely love that. So who knows? And then what else do we have going on this week? I had worked on that, and I think the Linktree links is basically the last thing I kind of wanted to touch on. Where are you guys with the 200th show? How are you feeling about it?
I'm excited, man. And like, here's the thing for the listeners, especially those who haven't bought your tickets yet. It's going to be, the event's going to be wild. I mean, the 100th episode, I mean, I wasn't on the podcast then, but the 100th, live show, that show was phenomenal. And the thing is you have the opportunity to meet in person some of these people that are either guests or that we talk about all the time, or that we talk about here on the side panel here for the jig heads.
Definitely,
like you get to put a face to the name, and they're all friendly, they're all a riot. It's going to be a blast. You don't miss out. Yeah,
it's going to be a real good time, and I think that it is really good that we're doing something so amazing. In fact, actually, I want to call it this one team. Shawn knows this one trivia team, Clorox Bleach. You've played with them before. One of the girls at Clorox Bleach works over at the Tank in Agawam, which is, I believe, a VFW hall or an American Legion.
It is. And you know what? It's funny, while you're talking about that real quick, that they've been drawing a lot of metal acts over the past few years. So
they have.
They're probably the local metal scene for the Valley right now, right?
Some of them are. Yeah, they work with some show promoters that have done events over there. And it all kind of goes back to its roots, those American Legion shows, where like back in the day, that's where you could see not even local, but like national death metal bands. And that's how it was. But one of the girls from Clorox Bleach on this team, they had, I had started implementing some of the marketing at Trivia, just trying to get more people to come and, show some support and have a good time and kind of celebrate it. Because there are actually trivia players that do fish, that cross over a little bit. But there's also some that don't, that actually listen to Jigs and Bigs because
they just can't get enough of this milky voice, goddammit.
They got to get their beef fix one way or another.
Tune in to Spotify and Apple Podcasts to get your hot beef injections.
Whatever it is that you need to get by day to day, who am I to judge? I'm just a degenerate angling podcaster. That's all I am. But I've been implementing some of this stuff over there, and I've had a couple of teams ask me about it. They're like, oh, hey, what's going on with this game dinner? So I explain it to them, and I have the ability. So if you're at one of my events and you're like, oh, God, I got to get tickets, I can do a ticket sale on my phone. Like, I have the ability to do that. Just come and ask me. We'll go ahead and get you all set up. But one of the players on Clorox Bleach is organizing some stuff over at the Tank. And she was like, we don't do enough for our vets. She's like, anything I can do to get involved or help you guys promote. She's like, I want to get tickets and go. And I'm like, you're going to have a great time. I'm telling you, you're going to have an absolute amazing time. So it's going to be really, really good. Easy, Uncle Frank, Pat Martin says.
Gross.
Oh, nice. Cheryl Bentley, how you doing, Cheryl? She says, good evening. It is pretty awesome. I got a text from Binya right now. Hang on. I don't know why he's not in the comments. He says, just leave this here for no reason other than it makes me laugh. Oh, he's got a bunch of shorts, I guess, from the live. I don't know what this is. Binya. Man, it's just been a roller coaster. It is very nice to have so much lined up on the calendar for interviews, which is unbelievable. So I'm really looking forward to it. I think we're going to have an interesting winter season this year. If we get some safe ice, I think I'm going to fuck around a little bit and see if I can team up with some folks and go out and do a little bit of jigging and drinking and see what happens. Should be fun.
I still got to pull all my shit out of the abyss back here.
Yeah.
Hasn't been touched in 2 years.
this week I went, Reaction Tackle sent me an item to review. And this item is one of their backpacks. And it fits 3,600 size boxes. So I went and I have a bunch of old like 3,600 boxes that were used for a bunch of different shit. And I put those together and I'm gonna test this thing out. It's a waterproof bag, and I'm gonna put it through its paces, and I want to see how it does because I'm not using waterproof 3,600 boxes. I want to see how this works out. I might actually load it up with like some paper and like leave it out in the rain and see if the paper's dry afterwards, just to see. Put it through its paces. It looks significant. Like the organization in here is really, really, really well done. There is a rod holder on it. So if you wanted to collapse a rod, it's a 2-piece or something, you could carry a rod that way, but it's a pretty slick bag and it is constantly out of stock. And they happen to have one and knew that it was something I was interested in reviewing. So they sent that over. So big shout out there. Reaction Tackle's got some really, really good stuff going on. So, well, I think we're going to go ahead. We're going to take our first break of this show. We're going to come back, guys. We got Just the Tip on deck for you guys. And don't go too far. We got still so much more show to come up. We got Just the Tip, we got Fuck This Guy, and our Gear of the Week segment. And then we've got Carter Hewitt, real South Dakota angler, outdoors rather, in our beef seat this week. We're going to talk to him, and it's going to be some good stuff. So don't go too far, guys. Much more show coming up right after this. Jigs Bigs wants to take a moment to say thank you to our partners for helping us continue to push the limits of our fishing adventures and bring you amazing long-form podcast content. We need to thank Dark Horse Tackle, Omnia Fishing, A-Bay Lure, The Bay House, and The Ship Motel. We can't forget about Three Bells Outfitters, Torres Sunglasses, and of course, Reaction Tackle. Be sure to check the description of this podcast for any associated affiliate links or promo codes they've generously provided our listening audience. Again, we cannot thank our partners enough for their support. Please consider supporting them and supporting the show in the same process. Thanks. Hey, you. Yeah, you. The one with the impeccable taste in fishing podcasts. Bobby Roast Beef here with a little call to action for all Jigs and Bigs listeners. We're opening up our hotline to you. Now you can call us to sound off about almost anything at 413-324-8519. Want to submit someone for our FTG segment? Call us at 413-324-8519. Care to maybe suggest a topic for Just the Tip or Bait of the Week? Call us at 413-324-8519. Maybe you just want to give us or anyone else a little shout out on the show, or you want to suggest a guest for the beef seat. You guessed it. Call us at 413-324-8519. The Jigs and Bigs hotline is there for you to leave a message with us 24/7. Just call 413-324-8519. Also, you can check that number in the notes of this podcast.
Bobby, Shawn, and Who the Fuck is Joe Brown now have a special presentation for us all. It's time for Just the Tip.
All right, so Just the Tip this week, me and Bobby were just talking about it. I just totally mixed it up with Gear of the Week, so they have no idea what I'm doing. So Just a Tip this week, so especially for us up north, again, I know we kind of beat a dead horse with that, but it's kind of like a technique thing. It not only a technique thing, but just to get a little bit of info. So one thing that I do to gain knowledge on different types of fishing and whatnot, where do I go? YouTube.
YouTube, yeah.
I go to YouTube. I can't even tell you how many different forms of fishing and techniques that I had heard about, but like I see them on there, I see them work, and I just enjoy. I really enjoy just seeing other people fish, especially when we're stuck in the fucking house because it's shitty out and there's no ice, but you still can't, or there's skim ice, which is even worse. You can't do shit with up north here. But yeah, so I'm gonna give you my top three YouTube channels that I like to essentially watch to get either get new techniques. I'm like blubbering all over myself tonight. To either get new techniques or to just watch people catch fish. And
fuck yeah.
So I'm gonna start my number three. My number three is gonna be Milliken. I love Millikens. He's definitely we talked about him a ton. So a couple weeks ago, so I won't go too much into it because you guys all know that I'm a MFer and I love the guy and I'm obsessed. So I love watching his stuff. Number two is going to be probably Tactical Bass, and just because of all the techniques they show you. I just love watching their techniques. I've picked up so many. That's where I learned the hover rig. Which
from
I've done really well with. Yeah. I've done really well with the hover rig. Actually, Zach and I were just talking recently about the hover rig. It's awesome. I love it.
This month, I think there's some hover rig stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just saying. You can look forward to that.
Yep. So I can't wait to actually talk about that because I kind of like I told you, like I fell in love with the hover rig this year. It's not for everybody though. We won't get into it. It's not for it's very tedious. It's for those when you're just not getting those bites. But you know who my number one YouTuber I love watching is? Absolutely love it. Bobby and I know we've talked about him, is ND Yak Angler.
My God. Yes.
Only just because of the fucking sheer excitement of his videos.
Yeah.
It is absolutely insane watching him. And the best part about it is I absolutely love how he grabs all those fucking lures that we look at on the shelves like, ugh, we keep walking.
Oh, he really does.
And he's getting trophy fucking musky pike, smallies off them. And it's just like, as an excitement factor, that's definitely my top one to watch. But for techniques, obviously I go to Tactical Bass, and those guys have killed it in the last 5 years.
Yep.
And I just love watching. I love following Ben and watching him succeed in the big boat tournament world. And for me as a big boat guy, that's super exciting to see him doing that. So yeah, that's my tip of the week. Get out there, go on YouTube. Use the technology. There's so many. I mean, that's just 3 out of thousands of different channels that are out there. That's just a start, and they're out there. So go do it. Get on YouTube when you're friggin' you can't get out there. Learn some new techniques, take notes on them, and get ready to use them in the spring.
Man, I had a conversation. Like the last couple of weeks, this name had come up, and it kind of lines up with what you're talking about for YouTube and everything. Is like one of the YouTube channels or creators that I've been watching for a long, long time. And for me, the YouTube angling, like the YouTube and fishing are synonymous. Like I learned a lot of what I know by watching, and even just developed the interest in watching a couple of these specific creators. And one of them that I have watched their stuff for years now is John B. And like on a creative level, I think this guy has kind of brought the visual art element of creating a video to a level nobody else has really ever touched. Like it's absolutely amazing. He's a really fantastic storyteller. Like, and a lot of this, it comes through on his videos quite a bit, but there's something specific that he's done recently that I'm a huge fan of, or I shouldn't say he's done recently. He's been doing this for a long time, 3 times to be exact. And it's this little series that he does called the Never Stop Tour. Now, the first one was in like 2018 or something like that, and it was him and Alex Perrick.
I remember. Yeah, I remember.
And I'm like, it's just the inspiration, like that really hit me at a time where I was like, that's what I want to do. I want to travel. I want to go and fish all of these different places and just have this experience. And then, when I fished a bunch of them and I'm like, holy crap, where else am I going to go? I'm going to go back to these places and see what's changed and what's different and everything else. Like to me, that's the adventure. And it really kind of got me all fired up. Then they did the Never Stop Tour 2, which was a little bit of a different animal because they went west, they went to California, went down into Mexico, and it was just a whole other sort of situation. It was highly entertaining because both of those guys together work really well together. And this isn't even necessarily like a Guggen thing, but like then in the third one, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to dig this. Who knows? We'll see. Nope. Man, inspired me immediately. I was like, yeah, this is the jam right here. And that for me, like that's a channel that really just inspires me because then I get the bug. I'm like, let's start thinking about where do I want to go? Where's the next place? And
of course.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because like he does some international stuff too. Like he's been to Australia, he's been to Sudan, and he's been to these other parts of the world. And I'm just like, slow your roll, buddy. That's not what you're going to be doing. Let's keep it domestic for a little while and do this more often, and kind of start there. But like that is one of the creators that I'm just like, yeah, this is awesome. And one other one that I think like that always has me kind of, I don't want to say like just like guessing or learning. There's 2 actually that I think when it comes to technique and gear specifically, I like to lean on. One of them is Bass Geek and the other one's Debo. Okay. Yeah, Bass Geek and Debo, man. Yeah. Like I feel like if I need somebody's genuine opinion about a piece of gear, I think Debo's the guy, And then of course there's everybody that we're friends with, obviously. I watch all their channels too.
Sure. Oh yeah,
Becca
of course.
and Todd and, Alex Rudd and like all this stuff. I watch all their stuff as well. And then everybody, and that's the beauty about the content is that when you lean into it and you're organically like your own self and you just do it your way, that's when it's the best. When people are trying to like, I'm going to hop on whatever trend or something, it's like that kind of, I don't really have any kind of time for that. But when you're really getting like someone's personality, and their experience and their ability to tell stories, like I think Becca tells a great story. My wife likes watching Becca's videos. She's like, this is fun,
Yeah.
Although I think she kind of gets a kick out of the Never Stop stuff too. Because she saw a few of those episodes with me and was like, so wait a minute, how come he's not involved with such and such? Oh, blah, blah, blah. He looks like he's a dick. Is he a dick in real life? And I'm like, it's kind of funny.
It's like, so Ben, he's a creator. That's what he does. He goes in there. Same thing with
super engaging too.
Yep. Same thing with the boys from Tactical Bassin. But I can't think of his first name from ND Yak Angler right now for the life of me. But that's like he's not like it just to me doesn't totally appear different. He's out there like trying to be a creator or anything like that. Hey, good luck trying to find him on any type of social media. He doesn't really have big social media pages or anything. He just goes out and literally just films his fishing trip. Yeah. And that's it. And he fucking kills it every time.
He's like Bob Ross. He's just like
the voice. Yeah. He's got that Bob Ross voice. Yeah.
Like, oh, here we are. We're going to throw this duck over here and see what happens.
Right. Yeah. Oh, there we go. There's a 49-inch muskie.
Oh, look at that neck ringed tit over there on the bank. Such and such.
Yeah.
Uncle Frank, how you doing,
babe? He does like, man, like, I mean, I know Shawn's done it. He's caught some big fucking fish in the kayak. Both of you, but it's like, and he's doing it. He doesn't have a pedal drive. He's fucking using paddles and getting these fucking.
Oh, he's got multiple kayaks. He's got.
Does he?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, dude. He's got a nice Hobie. I think it's a Hobie Mirage. He's got and I think that other one is a Wilderness Systems that he's in. But yeah, I mean, he's like. He's all over the place, dude.
But just getting those. I mean, just when he hooks onto those trophy pike or muskie, just watching them pull them around. It's just like,
it's
and
insane.
Then attempting to get them, into the net by the boat. I'm like, geez,
it really is. And I love it because you watch his stuff and it's just, you learn a lot, but you're also, it's almost like ASMR. Like you're just experiencing his.
Yeah,
his perspective, because I think he uses like a hat cam. He doesn't do like a lot of the third person stuff.
No, it's so like it's like it's very personal.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's just like you said. There's not all these crazy angles. It's literally just that he might put one every once in a while, like facing towards them, but it's just like
it's rare.
Yeah, it's It's awesome.
I also
like it.
love, like, he'll throw those big ass baits. Like, I've seen him throw like a Spro Rat 50. I've seen him throw the duck topwater stuff. He'll throw like a lot of these big baits, but this guy will be like, yeah, we're out throwing this little Ned craw, and like he's just killing it. So like I love it. There's certain anglers too. Like while we're on this, let's throw this here because it ties in with the multi-species tournament. So like multi-species anglers, Joe, that are on YouTube, who are you watching or who's catching your eye?
Oh, man, so that's tough because obviously I watch like Becca and stuff. I don't get into a ton of so one I would been into is I can't even I'm gonna be honest, I can't even think of the name of it right now, but the guys who have the like fucking catfish rigs on the pontoon boats and stuff. I've been getting into them a lot.
Is that 402 Outdoors?
That sounds right.
Yeah.
And then there's another one where I don't know if it's the guy, I think he's like a lawyer. And he's got like glasses, brings his two sons all the time, and then he'll have videos of like ice camping or snow camping with them, like on different videos.
Yeah, I think I know who you're talking about, like Outdoor Boys or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. So I like watching.
Catfish and carp, maybe.
Yeah, it seems like he's kind of gotten almost like sliding away from the fishing stuff and doing a lot of like
bushcraft and stuff.
Yeah, bushcraft type stuff. But I'll watch a lot of like. I'm so bad at remembering names, but there is a group of 2 kids that go around in southern Florida just grabbing all kinds of different species. Most of them are the, invasive species that are down there.
Tons of them.
Yeah, but just like, it's kind of like an urban fishing channel. Oh God, I wish I knew it off the top of my head. I'm gonna have to look it up. But no, I really enjoy that because it's like the mystery. It's like it's wild to me that I grew up down in Florida for quite a while. Central, the Central Gulf Coast, but just seeing like just down at towards southern Florida, Miami area, just the species of fish that they're like you never know what you're gonna catch. You never know what you're gonna catch down there.
It really is a whole other fucking planet.
Yeah,
really.
like in all these canals and spillways and stuff like that. Like it's literally like you can say you're going for a certain species, but
who knows?
You never know. So that's I enjoy that a lot. My kids like watching those guys too.
I'm surprised you didn't mention this guy because you watch. You've been an MF for so long, but one of my favorite multi-species anglers, the YouTube anglers, is Pig Patrol TV, Josh.
Oh yes,
dude, I want him involved with the multi-species scavenger hunt so badly. Like I just think he would have a blast with it. And also there's another multi-species guy, Nick 618 Fishing, I believe. Great channel, like really quality stuff. Just unbelievable. And the other one that's a multi-species that there's a guy, I think he's in Colorado, and I think his channel is called Bass and Trout. And he does a lot of like going out and like truck camping and then fishing, a little bit of fly fishing, some conventional stuff, and all kinds of shit. So I'm trying this time around to reach out to more folks that create multi-species content to get involved with what we're doing, because I just think it would be a great fit overall.
Yeah. I love that spillway stuff. We don't really have them around
Not
here.
Like that.
Like Josh from Pig Patrol. He's done quite a bit of them where that's kind of another thing where you never know what the fuck you're going to catch.
Oh, hell no. Yeah.
And, so multi-speed. Yeah. I don't know why I didn't think of him. Think of Josh from Pig Patrol, but he's
porn stash.
He's up there. Yep.
He's got a line of rod now with 6 Cents.
Yep. Yeah. He's been using them for a minute.
Yeah.
So I haven't, that's probably 1 6 Cents rod that I don't have. It's his shit, but,
I've looked at the sizes. They're very like dialed. He's picked these for very specific things. So
gotcha.
I may end up picking one up. I actually may end up picking one of the spinning rods. Mm-hmm. I'm actually flipping through YouTube stuff right now, and I see Becca just dropped an hour ago a new video. That's her new truck rig, the kitchen build out. She texted me the other night and was like, "Oh, I'm working on my kitchen." And I'm like, "I got a housewarming gift for you." I already told her what it is, so I can spill the beans on the show. I'm buying her first cast iron skillet.
Oh, awesome!
You gotta have one,
Yeah, of course.
So
of course.
Definitely gotta have one. That's awesome, man. I think that's fantastic. I think for the listeners, though, I need all of our listeners that are tuned into this show right now to strap in a little bit here. Buckle up, because it's about to get very interesting.
Fuck that guy. Fuck that guy. Fuck that guy.
All right, so, Shawn, I think you're the right guy to set the stage for this, and I'll follow up with the news story that goes with it.
Yeah, I was poking around Instagram one day and saw, Bobby, I'm going to drop the bomb on what it was.
Go for it.
We saw yet another, we've all seen this, I hate to say it's a trend at this point, of idiot people jumping into the fish tanks at Bass Pro Shops.
Yep, straight derping it.
Yep. And you know what? You and I have probably seen 20 of these over the past since the show's been running. So 3 years we've been seeing probably about 20 of them. I've seen a ton of them. I've seen them from all over the place. Texas, Kansas City, you name it. They're all over the fucking place. People are jumping in these tanks.
I think it was South Florida was the one with the 4 or 5 kids that jumped in back to back last year. That one was wild.
That's because it's
stupid.
Florida. It's hot as balls, and one needs to cool down any chance that they can. It's not like they live on a peninsula and can jump in the ocean at any time.
It's also Florida. Let's leave it at that.
True. That's true.
Anyways, what caught my eye about this particular one, that it was at the tank in the Foxbor Bass Pro Shops, which I think I had just recently been there as well. It wasn't within a day or two, but it was very close after I had to run there. So I saw that, immediately sent it to you. And you did your research and had seen more of them and said, what the fuck is going on? So we then learned in pre-production, when you pulled up the article, what happened to said offender. And I will leave that in your lap right now.
So the article, this comes from liveboston.org, and they reported the story. Foxborough, Massachusetts, at approximately 3:30 p.m. on Sunday, December the 3rd. Foxborough police responded to one Bass Pro Drive for a report of a person in the water of the indoor fish tank. Upon arrival, police located the juvenile who was out of the fish tank and still inside the store. According to sources, the juvenile had come to Bass Pro with several other juveniles who fled the store prior to police arrival. At this time, Bass Pro Shops does not appear to be seeking to press criminal charges against the individual. No further information was made available at the time. It should be noted, though, that although charges were not filed in relation to this incident, swimming in the fish tank of Bass Pro is very dangerous, illegal, and can be extremely harmful to wildlife that are in the tank. There's no comments on here, which is, I have a feeling they probably had to delete a bunch, but what a moron. Like, I understand kids doing stupid shit. I was a kid once. I did stupid shit. But
it's
just,
I don't even know what to say to this one, because it's because you said, there's some fucking things that I did when I was that age, a little bit older.
Oh yeah.
I still would not be comfortable sharing them now. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
You know, because wow, how did I stay out of fucking jail?
Cheryl Bentley says, she's like, oh, that was a crazy video. I'm thinking maybe it was staged, but sadly sounds like it was not. You know, it's funny, Cheryl, that you mentioned that. One of these, and I want to say it was in the Midwest, maybe in the Chicago area or something. It had happened, and they were doing this for a TikTok video.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if there's a little bit of a trend there, and that's what the, I guess, inspiration comes from.
I guarantee you that's what it was. I guarantee you one of those dudes was filming it because they wanted one of their TikToks or something to go viral, because that's what fucking kids care about nowadays. I mean, not to say I'm not on fucking TikTok. Don't have TikTok or something.
I'm working on my dances.
Think about it. If we had TikTok back in the 90s, Joe, you said you don't know how you stayed out of jail. We would have been in jail.
Oh yeah, we would have been in jail.
Just like these kids.
100%.
Yeah.
And so I'm gonna kind of, I guess to play the devil's advocate and knowing kind of how laws and stuff work. I guess I'm not sure. I would have to see where they can actually make it illegal, like what the actual like case law would have to be where that can actually be like a chargeable offense. But we're not. We won't go down that road.
Yeah,
but that's just kind of where my head's. That's where my head's going right now.
If it's posted on Bass Pro Shops property that civilian or fucking passerby are not allowed in the fish tank.
Yeah.
It's just like
it is private property.
A form of trespassing if you're not allowed to go into.
Yeah, that's I guess that's really the only way they would get around it. I mean, the kid probably got tried. They said no criminal charges.
Yeah.
Honestly, because they probably wouldn't have fucked it. It wouldn't have been worth Bass Pro's money or time,
that's
especially
what I'm
in
thinking.
this state. But no, they probably just trespassed them, and that was fucking it.
Yeah. Man, that's fucking ridiculous. It is. It's nuts. I saw this video. I was like, you got to be kidding me. Then I looked into it. I was like, no, that's right. I remember hearing about this before. And they're definitely being a trend. And ironically, I went to go look and see about that location. And then, like, in the process of finding out stuff about that specific Bass Pro location, somebody had, like, they had posted a picture of one of the fish, like, in the tank, just looking beat the fuck up. Like, this thing was in rough shape. And they're like, what's up, Bass Pro Shops? What are you doing in here? What's going on with this? And I'm wondering, like, timeline-wise, it could have been years ago. I don't know. I didn't go that deep down the rabbit hole, but that is just crazy, man.
So I do have an answer to that because back when I had the shop, I wanted to build some kind of fish tank and have local fish in there, you know, like, and basically, you know, and I had some game wardens and stuff that would pop in. I talked to them about it. They're like, it's like a huge no. And the way these guys get around it is they have like specialized license for rehabilitation. So that
I got
yeah. So that thing probably came from someone's fucking fish tank or some other fucking fucked up place, and they're trying to rehab the thing.
Trying to rehab it. That makes sense. Okay. Yeah. Man, that's crazy. Because I thought about the same thing. I'm like, dude, I would love to have a fish tank. Like, I'm like, that'd be awesome.
It's like, for everyone, I don't care. So if everyone knows, it is actually in this state, and not that I promote this, and I don't think anyone should do this, but it is extremely illegal to take a fish from your local ponds and like bring it to your house in a fish tank. However, you can like have one shipped to your house from like a fucking fish farm, and that's fine.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Or if it's in your limit and you're going to eat it, you can do that.
Yeah, you can bring it home.
Yeah.
You just can't put it in the tank to get it ready to while you can
bring it home.
The pan.
You can bring it home dead.
Yeah.
You can't bring it home alive.
Yes. Yep. That's 100%. Yep.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's nuts. So now we're going to shift gears, guys, to Gear of the Week. I'm interested to see what this is all about. Here we go.
Okay, gearheads, it's time to talk tools. Jigs and Bigs Gear of the Week.
All right, so Gear of the Week this week, I'm getting back into like the actual, actually some fishing gear. And today I'm going to talk about the 13 Fishing Code White spinning reels. So the first thing I will say is these reels, I believe, are discontinued, but that's okay. We're going to talk about that. So what I did was I actually got my hands on, I probably have like 10 of them sitting behind me that aren't spun up or anything.
Nice.
I grabbed a bunch of the 2000 series, and I'll tell you how here in a few minutes. But I don't use a ton of spinning gear. I mean, I think we've talked about it. I usually only have like 2 or 3 out of my 25 fucking rods that I keep in my boat. I probably only have like maybe. I mean, Bob, you've seen. I maybe have 4 spinning setups in there.
Oh, absolutely.
I had some expensive reels. I had some Vanford, some Stratics and stuff like that. And they're great. They're good. Yeah. But I've actually been having them breaking lately. I've been having, a couple, one of them my fault, one of them not.
Yeah. Okay.
But so it's just it was kind of like that. Oh, I need some different spinning reels so I can have them spun up with different shit, and I can just fucking throw them onto my rod, like take one off and throw another one on. So I got my hands on these because I've had good luck with 13 Fishing in the past. I know you use them, Bobby, and you like them. And I was just doing some research, and I found these 13 Fishing Code Whites. These things are friggin', for the money, for the price that you can find them, they're friggin' a phenomenal reel. I beat the shit out of a couple of these down south.
Yeah.
And I had no issues. They're just a great reel. They're they're a 5-to-1 reel. So they're kind of like that standard speed. Me personally, I always go 2,000 to 2,500. That's just the size I like. I don't go lower. I don't go high. The only time I go lower is if I have like a trout setup. I'm going and hitting the rivers. So these reels, these 13 Fishing, the cheaper spinning reels. If you're looking for something that's more budget friendly,
what's the price point on that?
So that's what we're going to talk about.
Oh, okay.
So because they're discontinued. I'm gonna go straight up. I got I think 8 of these for about $45.
Oh, that's very budget.
So and here's how. eBay. Right.
Yeah.
So I know there. I know there's some stuff.
Sorry.
And that's okay. So hold on. Everyone, time the fuck out. Everyone, time out. I support all my guys. I support my dark horse guys. I support that. But unfortunately, especially for people, for people like Bobby, people like Shawn, shit gets discontinued that we fucking love. We love it. We got to find a way to find it.
Yep.
And I have done that. I have found somebody on eBay, and I'm actually going to throw their name out there. Where I don't know if they just fucking bought a warehouse at one point that had all kinds of shit that is, discontinued. But there's a place on eBay. It's called Simmons Sporting Goods of Alabama, and they throw out lots of all this shit on eBay. A lot of it is like discontinued shit. Most of it, I would say, is pretty discontinued or like a little bit older. Probably shit that they're probably buying shit that people just couldn't get rid of or whatever. And there is a lot of shit that I won't touch, but I've gotten some fucking good deals on stuff that I can't find anywhere else.
Oh yeah.
So Simmons Sporting Goods of Alabama, look them up on eBay. There's a technique to it. There's a technique to getting your money's worth on that, on this place. That I'm not going to share here.
Yeah. Okay.
Because it is a science. And if anyone reaches out to me on American Vet Fishing on Instagram, I will and ask me about, how to really get your money's worth on eBay. I will let you know. I feel like I kind of broke the system in the way I figured it out. Yeah, a little bit. So, reach out to me on my Instagram, American Vet Fishing, and I will let you know and here's how it is these guys start their bids at 99 cents for everything. It starts at 99 cents. Oh, okay. But here's what they get you. All the shipping is $10. Right. So there's
something to be considered. Yeah.
Yep. But like I said, there's loopholes and there's kind of like some shit that I figured out to where I can get around that. And if you want to know how that is, you got to reach out to me because I'm not throwing it on here for respect to this company because they've been awesome with me. Yeah. They've really helped me out with some shit where I ordered something and they actually had they fucked up the colors and and so they reached out to me personally, via phone. They're actually super nice people. Yep. So I'm not gonna try to cripple them right here.
And you were like, it's a good thing you called because I am Joe Brown from the Jigs and Bigs podcast.
I could fucking crush this business.
Yeah. So, but they have some awesome stuff that you just can't find for just shit colors of plastics that I really enjoy that I couldn't find anymore. Yep. A lot of that. Some jerk baits like Rapala type shit that you just can't find anymore. And a lot of that does have to do, like you said, like being discontinued. It's like it's taking up room on shelves that, they might want to put bigger sellers on, and they can move things along. So a bunch of I'm going through a bunch of but there's a shit ton of reels that, I mean, when I owned the shop, Shawn went through, something where he's like, fuck, dude, I can't find this reel anymore. Like I couldn't find it, that certain speed or whatever. And the cool part about it is they don't sell them as one. They sell them as 2 minimum, sometimes up to 5, the full lot.
And that's not a bad thing because then you can get a little backstock of your own where you're like, hey, if there's a problem.
Exactly.
Even if you just get 2 and you consider one to be parts.
Yep.
You know, it's like
100%. Tons of reels, tons of like I said, the plastics you can't find anymore. I'm starting to see the older Corrados on here.
oh yeah.
Yep. So just shit like that. So like I said, go. This is it is like a small mom and pop thing that I'm pretty sure they only do it on eBay. But Simmons Sporting Goods of Alabama. If you want to know the trick, reach out to me and I will let you know.
Fair enough, dude.
But 13 Fishing Code White. This is what I've been throwing on all my rods lately.
Yeah.
It is great. I mean, it's not a premium reel, but it gets, I know Shawn's kind of the same way with his spinning reels. I can, if I fucking break this one or whatever, I'll just pop another one on and good to go.
Yeah.
What's the price point on that, Joe?
So,
retail. What's
you
that
can
look
still
like?
retail. You can find them right now. For the people that still have them, for anywhere between like $20 to $30.
Gotcha.
That's right in the wheelhouse right there.
Yep, for a single reel.
Dude, that's awesome. I mean, in the interview I had with Carter, he's another one that like his favorite spinning reel is the Lew's American Hero. And that's a 6-speed reel. And I told him, I was like, dude, that in the interview, I say it, that's the best $30 you can spend.
100%.
It's
100%. Even I think their next gen American Hero, at least with the spinning, with the casting reel, the price went right up.
Oh, I believe it.
Yeah. So I remember I sold those. Those are great reels.
They are really solid reels. I've got one, and I'm considering replacing this. I've got a loose Smash that I actually want to replace for a larger size because the one I have on there is a little bit small.
Yeah,
and
even those Smash reels were awesome.
They're not bad. Yeah,
even like at the price point, you get them for 2 fucking seasons. You made
made money
perfect.
on it. Yeah, exactly. You're like it's all good at that point. No, I think that's awesome, dude. And I'll tell you, the thing I like about that 13 fishing reel is that everything on it is black. It'll match whatever you've got. And there 100%. Are folks that are that's super important. Like I have one of those ugly ass Smash reels with it's like bright red and like on like one of those nice like
ugly as shit, but it's
camo.
A great reel.
Yeah, I have it on a really good looking rod, one of those Cobb Series arc rods that I think they look sexy as fuck. And I'm like, this reel just clashes, but it does the job so well, and I don't complain.
The one thing I will say about 13 that kind of irks me a little bit. Mm-hmm. It's once they have something that I like, it seems like they fucking discontinue it and bring out
right away.
Else. And it's usually more expensive.
Yep. They're like, oh yeah.
That's the one thing they do that I haven't been a huge fan of. Mm-hmm. They really like pump through. It's probably the same fucking reel. They just put different, they put different writing, maybe the upgrade. Yeah. They rebrand it, maybe upgrade one little piece on it and then fucking jack the price up a little bit. But the Code White, I mean, it's all black, so it makes no sense. But
it doesn't.
It's
freaking awesome, man. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and take a short break. When we get back, I've got Real SD Outdoors. Carter Hewitt, he is joining me in the beef seat. We're going to talk about bass fishing. We're going to talk about pike fishing. We're going to talk about a lot of topwater fishing, all kinds of great stuff. And we're going to talk South Dakota as well. Don't go too far. Much more Jigs and Bigs coming up. We'll see you on the backside of that interview to close this puppy out. Jigs and Bigs is your favorite fishing podcast, right? Why not show the world how much you love the show while directly supporting us? We have men's and ladies' shirts, hoodies, and a variety of hats. We even have a waterproof outdoor Bluetooth speaker so you can listen to your favorite podcast while out on the water if you like. Check out jigsandbigs.com/shop to visit the store and gear yourself up. If you really can't get enough of this show, consider becoming a jighead and joining our Patreon. It's a subscription that gives you exclusive access to recording sessions that allow you to engage with us as we record the show. We also have some exclusive content there just for our jig heads and even have some special promo codes. Space is limited, so join now at jigsandbigs.com. Finally, if you're local to our area in Western Massachusetts, consider checking out the Western Mass Fishing Report, posted weekly at northeastwildwoman.com. We have amazing contributors providing great content and info for local conditions and what's been going on and working recently. Jigs and Bigs, so much more than just two lightly roasted hippies trapped in the 90s arguing on the internet about fishing. up, guys? Bobby Roast Beef back here. We got a great interview segment this week. I got Carter Hewitt with us. Carter is located in South Dakota, and I'll tell you, that is a part of the country that I have never visited, but is on my bucket list to visit. He's been an avid angler since 2018, and he apparently loves to fish for pike. And this was the year that I kind of got the bug, bitten by the bug for pike. Carter, how are you doing, dude? How's everything going?
Good, man. How are you? It's all going good this way.
Good. Everything's cool over here. It's a little chilly. We got a little bit of a late start. I'm in the disco dungeon, and I was like, I think I overestimated how cold it was going to be in here. So I was like, I'm gonna go get a hoodie, man. It's a little chilly.
What's your guys' weather looking like?
That was actually the question I was just going to ask you. Our weather is hot garbage, dude. This is what I like to call the open water angler's lament, because what we're experiencing right now are temperatures that are just cold enough to put skim ice on the majority of the lakes and ponds that are around us. So you're scrambling for space at any decent spots along any rivers that we have, but none of that ice is anywhere near safe to be able to ice fish on. So it sucks.
Yeah.
It sucks. How about out your way?
Oh, our way, it's about the same. It's just cold enough to shut the bite off and put a little bit of ice on top of the lake.
Yep.
And that's about it. It's kept me inside for the past month.
Oh yeah, this is this summer I'd been going out like 4 days a week, most weeks, most every week, like on an average probably 4 days a week, and it was fantastic. The multi-species scavenger hunt was a nice little kick in the ass to make sure I kept getting out on the water as much as possible. To this week, I should have gone out yesterday. I knew I was making a mistake by not going out yesterday, and I opted not to simply because it was just too cold. And now here I am this morning. Once we're done, I'm going to make a run to a spot along this small river that I've never fished this one area, and it's been on my radar for a while, and it's so close by that it's perfect. I have a short amount of time. I'm recording with Binya Outdoors today on his podcast, The Spawn, later tonight at 7:00. So I've got.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah, it should be pretty fun. We're gonna have a good time. I'm gonna tear into some jigglers, I think, live on the live stream. So it should be.
Hey, man, that'd be fun.
It should be pretty interesting. I think it's gonna be a good time. Let's talk. Let's kind of get the breakdown here, man. I'm a sucker for an origin story. I know there are some folks out there that are in the same boat. They love to know like the origins of how folks came up into whatever the topic of conversation is. In terms of fishing and in the outdoors in general, kind of walk me through like who introduced it to you? What was it that you kind of fell in love with? How do we get to the point where we are today?
So, I've kind of always liked the outdoors.
Yep.
But I was never really big into fishing until about 2018.
Gotcha.
When my father passed away.
That's awful.
I wanted to kind of find something to take my mind off of that.
Definitely.
So I turned to fishing, and I started with trout fishing and kind of multi-species.
Yep.
And once I started bass fishing, man, I was hooked.
Oh, yeah.
And fast forward 4 years now, and here I am still catching bass. I love it. So fun.
That's awesome, dude. That's awesome.
I actually just got into kayak fishing last season, and that's
nice.
a whole nother thing too. I love it.
Oh yeah, 100%. It's a total game changer, and I mean, when you're able to get off of the bank, it's like introducing like crack to a pothead. Like, you know what I mean? It's
a whole nother game.
It's entirely different. I mean, I can't even explain it. You get so much more literally real estate to be able to cover and experiment with, if nothing else. A lot of it's going to be unproductive, but you have the ability to get around so much further, whether it's in a huge boat or even a wreck kayak, it's all good. What's your rig like?
Yeah.
What are you rolling with? What have you been setting seaworthy with?
Right now I'm running with just it's almost like a recreational kayak. One of the ones that you sit down in. Yep. Which is kind of unfortunate because I feel like I lose more fish sitting down inside of the kayak.
Oh, all right.
But on the other hand, it's a good learning experience.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't used to fighting fish in a kayak at first.
Oh yeah.
So I like using stuff like drop shots and stuff like that.
Definitely.
I learned how to fight them in the sit down kayak.
And
but I do want to. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, when you're in a kayak, especially like a rec kayak that's so light. I mean, your kayak probably is in the ballpark of like 40, 50 pounds, maybe.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Like that fish is able to move you around so much, and it's like,
oh yeah,
it's kind of a wild ride.
Yeah, I was catching big pike this summer on the kayak on buzzbaits and walker ploppers.
Nice.
And man, they would pull me quite the distance before I would get them in.
That's awesome. I'll tell you, dude, like that was actually going to be one of my next questions was when I feel like pike anglers fall into one of two camps. There's those pike anglers that are like, that's what they do. They have like, target or species specific rods, they'll use musky gear and stuff like that. They'll use steel leaders to ensure that they're not getting broken off. They'll take these precautions, they kind of lean into specifically that species. And then you've got other anglers that are just like, yeah, I love catching pike, but they're throwing all bass gear for them. And, I feel like that's a little bit more risky. Like you do definitely run the risk. As Shawn the fisherman likes to say, going bareback is always a little bit risky.
Always a little bit risky.
But, I feel like there's some reward there. And also like, I don't know. It's just I've had this year. I finally had a big pike on a really, really small presentation. And it's unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
What's your PB pike?
I want to say 37 inches.
It's a good.
He was a little under 8 pounds.
That's a good size fish, dude. That's a big fish.
Yeah, dude. And catching them on top water is so fun.
Oh yeah.
Like especially up here, you can catch them on bladed jigs and top water baits. They really love those.
Oh hell yeah.
Crankbaits too, surprisingly.
It's funny. I really kind of like a lot of the pike fishing content that I like to watch are some of the pike videos that ND Yak Angler does. He's in your area, a little further north from you. But same thing.
Yeah,
I see him throwing what was it? There was a really good pike video he did where he threw a topwater duck, and a lot of the topwater they seem to really, really like that. Obviously, anything with blades, they're gonna chase the flashy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like that stuff is crazy. But I can definitely see like a crankbait. My biggest pike that I've ever had, I didn't get to land them, which sucked. But it was on a finesse jig.
Yeah.
Was
that the one from this summer, right?
It was. Yeah, it was the one from this summer. And I'm like, it was, I mean, just having that story, I think, is enough value. But now I'm out for blood. Like, I'm looking to catch a fish of that caliber again, get it in the net, get it on the board. And that's my goal right there. I think actually, tell you the truth, 2024 is going to be a big year for big pike as far as focusing on them. Yeah. I just, multi-species tournament or not be damned. Like, I've just got the itch, and now once you feel a fish with that level of power in a body of water that you enjoy fishing in regularly, it's addictive. Yeah, it's crazy. Unbelievable.
Yeah, it really is. I love throwing finesse stuff for big pike.
Yep.
It's fun.
Let's talk.
Actually, this summer my girlfriend, she caught a really big northern on a drop shot.
Really?
8-pound Seaguar line. Yeah.
Really? Now, how did that turn out?
She actually landed him, and she didn't use the net. I ran to go grab the net. We were bank fishing.
Yep.
And I got back to the dock, and she flipped him up onto the bank. I was really surprised.
Oh, my God. On such light gear. Yeah. That's crazy. Well, hey, good for her. That's awesome.
like the VMC spin shot hooks.
Yep.
The ones that got, like, the eyes on each end. It was one of those, and it bent that hook all the way out.
Oh, I'm sure it did. But actually, that may have been a good thing as far as not getting that line twisted all the way around. Like, having that be able to spin may have actually been a little bit of a benefit. Who knows? Those are
that's actually
really
true.
light hooks.
This summer was my first summer throwing a drop shot.
Yep.
And, man, it was phenomenal. That's my favorite bait now.
Yeah, it's tough to, like, it's one of those things where I think the worst thing about drop shot fishing is just having to tie it. But once you've got, like, if you can dedicate a rod to it, I think it's just one of those things you'll lean on it a lot. And I have this one combo I like to have a drop shot tied on all the time. And it's pretty good, and it performs. I've caught a lot of different species on a drop shot presentation, and it's so versatile. You know, what's your go-to drop shot plastic that you're putting on there?
So I like to run the Big Bite baits.
Yep.
It's the Sensation Somali, which is just like a 3 1/4 inch trick worm. And they go crazy for that too.
Yeah.
I like to throw the 6 Sense Glitch.
Yep.
Tube baits. I actually really like the drop shot tubes. Small tubes.
Oh my God, dude. I can 100% see that. I can 100% see that.
Dude, they go crazy.
Yeah, I bet. Like you're talking like the super tiny tubes.
Yeah, like almost like the Mr. Twister style.
Yes,
like
yes, like the little 2 inchers. Oh my God! You know what has become a kind of a staple plastic when it comes to specifically targeting as many species as possible? It's a Guggen. It's a Guggen plastic. It's from their crappie line. They call it the Snacky Swimmer.
Yeah,
and it's basically a 2 inch like paddle tail, and it just gets hammered. I've been throwing them on, just on a jig head. I've been throwing them on, like I'll modify a beetle spin, for more of a moving presentation and to get a little bit of flash. And then, but also on a drop shot. Like they have been just loving a drop shot. And, I've taken them before and I've run it as like a high-low rig where I've run, instead of a drop shot weight, I'll put a jig head at the bottom and I'll run 2 of them. And it's like a couple of schooling minnows. And it's, man, it does get hammered, but it's small enough what's that?
You've had good luck with that high-low rig.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and it's fun too. Like sometimes they just want that upper hook, and other times they just want the bottom bait, and it's kind of nice. I was listening to I think it was an episode of Tackle Talk where Andrew was talking with Dave Mercer, and Dave Mercer is famously known for recording like thousands upon thousands of hours of footage of fish underwater. So he's got a really unique sort of perspective on their behavior. And the topic came up regarding drop shots, and he was like, do you know how often a fish will be biting the weight, your drop shot weight? And, you're like, you swing on a fish and you're like, where was it? And it's just because that weight just came right out of its mouth. And I was like, you know what? I think that is all I need to know about, because around here, we thought we were slick. We thought we were inventing something new with that high-low rig. We called it Rig X for a little while. And come to find out, we're
morons. We're just idiots.
And we decided instead that we were just going to allow it to benefit us as much as possible. That's an amazing way to go ahead and do it. Like personally, I like to use an EWG hook, an EWG Ned head. And, for like one of those snacky swimmers, it's too large for that. That won't work. But I'll throw like a Helamite on there or, like a 2.8 inch Kitech. Beautiful.
Yeah.
And it's amazing because if they're going to bite the weight anyway, might as well hook them.
Yeah. Have you doubled up on it yet?
I have not doubled up on it. I'm still, my fingers crossed that I'm able to make that happen sometime soon. I really, really want that to be in the works. But yeah, I've yet to double up on it. But it is interesting. I've been out actually fishing with Shawn, and we'll be across the pond from one another, and he'll be like, upper hook, and I'm like, lower hook. And it's just cool to see the pattern of like what's going on, or we'll use different plastics, and it's pretty cool stuff, man. Let's talk a little bit.
Right.
You're in the content creation world too. You got a couple things going. I know you've got a YouTube channel, and you've got a podcast as well called Beyond the Banks.
Yes.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Well, how do we get into all this?
So Beyond the Banks is kind of a thing that I wanted to come up with during the off season when I'm kind of stuck inside a little more.
That's a good idea.
And I wanted it to be kind of like you guys, with a couple different people.
Yep.
And it kind of ended up falling on its face, but I would like to eventually bring it back.
For sure.
But the YouTube side of it, I've been trying to be more consistent with that.
Yep.
I've been having a lot of fun doing it.
That's cool. Good.
I bought my first GoPro last summer.
Yep.
And that alone brought my content to the next level.
Oh, definitely. Definitely makes a huge difference.
But yeah, I started at the beginning of the season, just filming my catches, really.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of where it all started. And then from there, I've seen some pretty good progress on the YouTube, so I just decided to stick with it.
That's awesome.
And it's been fun.
No,
yeah,
that's great.
Been hitting all my goals pretty quick.
That's fantastic, dude. Like, I love, there's just something about the content creation side of fishing that I am completely in love with. And I think that there are a lot of anglers that they don't really they can't necessarily wrap their head around it per se. But I'll tell you what, like I've been a sucker for John B's content for a long time. Like that dude is like, he's in an upper sort of level, but just this year had come out with, I think actually the last episode of it was just released this last week, but the Never Stop Tour. And I think, to me, that is the most inspiring series to, like, get up and, like, I'd love to have him on the show and tell him, like, dude, you inspired an old-ass man to really kind of chase the outdoors like he was a kid again. Like, that is
for sure.
That's legitimate. Like, and just to watch this stuff, I think, is amazing. But I love the way Debo kind of surmises all of the content creation. Like there's a certain element of it that's selfish, you know, like you want to be able to look back and reflect on the journey and the progress and all that stuff, but have it in a format, but also to be able to share it, you know, like if I catch this amazing fish or I go on a trip and I want to document all the little parts of it, I want to be able to share it with people that have an interest in it. And there's a lot of people that are out there, like a shitload of people they're out there.
Well, and I think my favorite part about it is, you know, you can document all your catches.
Definitely.
For me, that's my favorite part of it is I know I can get good videos and good pictures.
Yep.
And I can share them with all the people that like them. But most importantly, I can keep them and document them.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's a huge, huge deal. You go back and I know this summer there was a reel and a trend on TikTok where it would say, why do you need a phone that holds X amount of memory? And it was just this blast of different photos and clips. And I'm like, I don't know a single angler who that's not the situation. Like I'll talk to somebody. Yeah. Even at work, I'll be doing a gig and I'll have a conversation with somebody and they'll say they might notice I'm wearing a reaction tackle or a Hookset Hoodlums hat or something like that or my AFTCO hoodie and they're like, oh, you fish. And then we've got our phones out. We're like, oh, well, look at this. This is crazy. Oh, I caught this on such and such presentation. And it's awesome. I'll never forget. There was a time I was doing a wedding and I was lining up the bridal party and I have my notes on my phone on the notes app of the order of the bridal party for instructions of phonetic spellings and names so I don't fuck that shit up. And I'm looking at it, and as I'm getting to the notes, the guy goes, whoa, is that a giant largemouth on your phone? Happened to be the picture of my PB. And I was like, well, yes, it is. After we're done with introductions and we do the toast, I'll meet you at the bar and we can have a conversation. And that's exactly what happened. We had a great discussion. And I got to hit that dude up. We're supposed to fish at some point or another, but that's my favorite part about it, you know, is the community. Speaking of community, one of my favorite things about fishing, like it's so peaceful to go and fish by yourself and it's cathartic. It's good for your mental health, all that stuff. But on the same, in the same sort of level, just on the flip side, fishing with another person is awesome. Now, what's your short list of people look like? Like the top 3 of folks that you would absolutely love to fish with. And they could be content creators. They could be tournament anglers. They could be celebrities. It doesn't matter who they are. And they could be living or dead too. Who is it that you would just love to fish with?
My top 3 would probably be Chris Zaldane.
Okay.
He is on the Bass Elite Tour.
Yep.
After your guys' last video or last episode, probably Ben Milliken. That would probably be pretty cool.
Yeah. Yep.
Or maybe even Josh Jones would be cool.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Another Sixth Sense guy.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Those would probably be the 3.
I love that, dude. You're working with a couple of companies here. I know you got Stump Thumper, Soft Plastics, Rigged and Ready Fishing, Bass Co., Wicked Weights, 503 Fishing Co., and Jay's Inc. Fishing Lures. Tell me about some of those companies. Are those like your confidence, brands? What are some of the items that you love? Yep.
So Jay's Custom Inc., he makes me all my custom hard baits.
Nice. Okay.
Like my buzz bait. Well, not my buzz baits, my whopper floppers.
Yep.
Bigger swim baits. And then Stump Thumpers, I get all my plastics from him. I like running his plastics, all American made.
Oh, yeah.
I'm kind of like you guys. I try to stick with the smaller guys, you know. Basco, I run his jerseys. Chris is a good dude over there.
Nice.
Actually, Jay's Inc. Scuba Steve just joined our pro team.
Oh, yeah. Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah, and he was telling me he's fished with you before.
Yeah, at the Camp Hook set. Yeah, that was awesome. We got to get Scooby on the show.
Yeah, he's cool. He's really cool.
Yeah, he's a good dude. That was such an amazing time, and the fishing was just ridiculous.
It sounded like it was a really good time.
Yeah, it was fun stuff. That's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
I have heard of Stump Thumper. There was somebody.
Yeah, he makes some really good baits.
Yeah, there's somebody who would in our little circle that has I think maybe might pro staff for them, but that stuff. I mean, it's amazing, dude. The world of like domestic, custom, small batch craft baits is. The world is your oyster. It's just all about folks having the interest to go and look into it. Like some of the stuff. What I'll tell you, like one of the brands that I have absolutely fallen in love with, and I give 100%, 100% credit to Dark Horse Tackle for this is Giltech. Yeah, you know, Giltech is that's the company that makes that finesse jig I caught that big pike on, and I've caught a ton of really, really great fish with it. That jig paired with this one soft plastic I love from Riot called the Tantrum. And this little thing is like, it almost, when it falls, it's kind of cartoony, the way the claws fall. Like, I just think it's funny. And it's just such a great combo. If they're really active, that plastic is nuts. It is absolutely bananas.
That's the jig that you bought like 20 of, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I did. I fished. I got 2 of them in a box, and then I lost one of them, and I said, well, that's not going to happen. So I went and I bought like 20 in a variety of different colors, and they're awesome. I love them. As I tell people about them, and I've got them in packages, I'm like, here, take this and try this. My buddy Paul, I fish with him all the time, and I was like, dude, I'm telling you, this is a fire jig. You got to try this. So I throw it out there as much as I can. But yeah, there's that. The Martin's Custom Baits is another brand that, you know, I've kind of fallen in love with. Their spinnerbait, that knee knocker, is insane. I was out fishing with Who the Fuck is Joe Brown. The last time we fished together, he caught the biggest fish of the day on that. So it's like those small batch baits are amazing. And Dark Horse kind of, you know, if you don't have a lot of time to like hunt around and find these baits, Dark Horse kind of makes it easy on you, because now you can kind of discover them, try them out, see what you want. And it's not crazy for the subscription. You're spending like $35 a month, but you're getting your value. Actually,
I want to check that out.
Yeah, it is. I'm telling you, it's amazing. And if the beauty of it now is like they're evolving a little bit. So if you find a specific jig or something that you like, you know, this last summer, they started the BYOB where you could build your own box. But you can also go now and purchase individual baits, which kind of streamlines things. Because if you're like, I really only want to get these things, you know, then you can just go and order them and get them right there. In fact, we have a link in our Instagram bio now, and on our and jigsandbigs.com and our affiliate links and everything. You can go down and click on that sucker and get ready to go. But yeah, dude, Dark Horse has really opened my eyes to a lot of that stuff. And I mean, obviously, like you're gonna buy other, you know, items that you need to. You know, that because the availability of these things can sometimes be tough. You get a company that takes off and there's only one guy in a garage doing it. Like, that's a crazy workload. It's tough. So when I get my hands on the baits that I really like, I'm like, yep, the same thing with A-Bay. You know, I love A-Bay baits. Luckily, Chris is just a monster, and he always has an amazing selection of stuff every time I'm looking. When I see him at a show, or if he's just got a suggestion, sometimes he's like, hey, man, this is the jam. I'm like, all right. He's never steered me wrong. But we're getting totally off topic, man.
I want to look into the Picasso shock blades eventually. I've heard you guys talk about them.
This year has made me a fan. I have never fished a what do you call it? What's the Z-Man one ever? The jackhammer. I've never fished a jackhammer.
Yeah, jackhammer.
I usually, like, I first got into chatterbaits with the original Z-Man chatterbait, and I've caught a bunch of fish on it. I like it. It's fine. You know,
Right.
but when the jackhammer kind of came out into like the spotlight and everybody was like, there's nothing like it. You know, there are some that are close. There's nothing like it. And I stumbled on Picasso, that shock blade, and that was through Dark Horse as well. That shock blade, I went and I bought a bunch in, you know, a couple of different colors, but then they also sell them in what they call the naked series. So it's there's no skirt with these. It's just streamlined. So, and I've kind of started to lean more into that camp of I'm going to buy my jig heads, I'm going to buy this, and I'm going to buy my skirts, and I can modify and make changes as I need to right on the water. And there's something kind of cool about that. Even with like getting this year into like making sure to carry a variety of like spike it markers to like change up a presentation a little bit. I've noticed that with throwing like small finesse swim baits. I'll use a little orange or chartreuse to kind of give it a little bit of extra like flash, something that gives them something to aim for or something to hold on a little bit more to.
Yeah.
So it's just,
this is my first season running that stuff. The spike it pens.
Oh yeah, dude, aren't they great? They kind of
I didn't like the tubes of it. Ugh.
Oh, dude, yeah.
The jars.
I'll tell you, there's a time and a place to take those jars around.
Yeah.
Like I'm a sucker for the stuff that comes in a jar. I'm a sucker for JJ's Magic. I think that stuff it's the most potent scent I've ever experienced, and it's great. The only problem is like I've got a tackle bag that I have spilled like a bottle that was probably about a third full of chartreuse, and it reeks of garlic. I went catfishing. I went catfishing one day with a buddy of mine, and we were using shrimp. And I was like, dude, I'm Italian American, dude. We're doing scampi. So I was dipping it in the chartreuse, and I ended up catching some smallmouth on it, which is kind of crazy.
That is crazy.
Yeah, but I'm like, all right, hey, I'm down. I'm gonna take it.
I'll take it.
Yeah, it is. It's just it's nuts. So let's talk.
That is nuts.
Let's talk about your specific confidence baits. You'd mentioned the drop shot. What's your short list of confidence baits that you know that can get it done if you need them to get it done?
So my top three, well, if I had to pick just three, I guess.
Yep.
Would be the bladed jig.
Nice.
A swim jig.
Yep. Oh yeah, that's my baby right there.
And some sort of top water.
All right. Okay.
Because, man, a couple seasons ago, I broke my personal best.
Yep.
On a chartreuse and white swim jig.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And ever since then, man, it's just like a chatterbait or a bladed jig, you know.
Yeah.
When it hits the water, you can get them to react, and they hit it right away.
Oh yeah.
And I've had more times catching 2 or 3 fish in a row.
Yep.
With a swim jig than than any other bait, really.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's amazing because you throw a swim jig and it's so like it's almost like a silent chatterbait in one respect. On the other hand, it's like throwing a swim bait but with secondary action. So it's this sort of middle ground, you know, where you're like, oh, all right, cool. So I'm going to throw, you know, this silent bait, but there's a little bit more action than if I was just throwing like a 4-inch paddle tail on a jig head or something. You know, you've got that skirt that undulates a little bit, and man, fish can just come unglued on that. And then
they go crazy for them.
They really, really do. And it's nice because you can flip them right into cover. Just like any other jig if you wanted, you know, but you can also just rip them through grass as well. What types of bodies of water are you out there fishing in South Dakota? Like what kind of bottom composition are you mainly dealing with?
So it's normally like sand and rock.
Sweet.
And then the more you make it up into the hills, it's more like grass and mud.
Okay. Yep.
So I fish a lot of prairie lakes. Mm-hmm. Which are just like flatland lakes, and they're a lot of sand and rock.
Gotcha.
And dude, those, you know, if you've ever watched like Ben Milliken's videos,
oh yeah,
he fished, I want to say in the northeast corner of South Dakota.
Yep.
Catching really big smallmouth, and man, those prairie lakes, they're so fun to fish.
It's freaking dynamite. I'm gonna have to make a send out that way, dude. I've talked about it before, like fishing Iowa with Debo, and then you know, I mean, once you're in that pocket, it's like, well, come on, might as well spend some time. Yeah. That's freaking awesome.
Yeah, dude, you'll like it. You'll enjoy it.
Yeah. No, I believe it, dude. That is freaking awesome. So let's talk, again, I like to put this in the fishing adjacent category. I always say to folks, when you're out fishing, like you could be out and you could have an amazing, amazing day. And, maybe you're going to grab a meal afterwards to celebrate. Or on the other hand, on the absolute polar opposite, maybe it was an absolute hot garbage day. Maybe it was a skunk and you're going to go console yourself with a decent meal, or maybe punish yourself with fast food. Who knows? What is the place you're going to recommend? Like the mom and pop spot that you're going to recommend when you're, in either of those camps?
Oh, man. So that's a hard one right there.
Yeah?
There's a place called Wall Drug, South Dakota.
Okay.
And it's about 45 minutes to an hour from where I live.
All right, nice.
And it's a really big tourist attraction.
Oh, all right.
But everyone that goes through there, like all the businesses that are there are just mom and pop shops.
That's the best.
And any one of those little like taverns or little bars, oh man, you can go hard in one of those.
Beautiful. I like that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I'm going to put that in my little notepad right now, actually, because that sounds like a freaking great idea. I love that.
If you ever make it this way to Wall, there's a lake that's in Wall. That's where I've caught all my big fish at.
Oh, no kidding.
You'll have to hit that. Yeah. Yep.
Now, this is a kind of a question. I don't think I've ever asked anybody this, and this probably could be another one that ends up on the go-to list. But in your part of the country, right, in South Dakota, like, I'll give you an example. Like around here, everybody goes to, oh yeah, he caught a 5-pounder. Like that's a big fish out here. You get into the 6 or 7 pound range, and that's really something spectacular. Like there's only so many of those fish that are around here, but you talk like 5 pounds is like the big one. Where is the line for you where folks are like, nope, that is a big fish?
So for us, I would probably say like probably a 3.5 or a 4.
Yep.
You get anything past that, it's like, wow, that's a big fish.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
My personal best is 7.5, and nobody could believe it for the longest time. And yeah, because our state record's 9.5.
No shit.
So
okay.
Man, I was right there. I was close.
That's awesome, dude. That's a big fish. That's bigger than my PB. My PB is 6.6.
Dude, he was huge. I had both my hands in his mouth.
That's amazing, dude. What time of year was it?
6.6 is big though.
Oh, really?
How long was he? Your PB.
My PB was 22. Yeah, 22 inches.
It's a long fish.
Yeah, it's a long fish. And a lot of it was, I mean, she was ready to, because this was in April, end of April. April 25th was the day. She was feeding up and was full of eggs, and this was big. I've caught fish that were, longer fish later in the year, and you're just like, yeah, this fish is just caught. That's the one thing about measuring length versus, the weight of a fish. I get like, people, you say 5 pounds and people kind of have an idea of what that weighs. You know what I mean? But when you say like you catch a fish, if I caught that fish and it was like August or September, it may be a whole other situation. That fish might have come in at 4.5 pounds, 4 pounds, Yeah.
Yep.
So it's like, that's my biggest thing with weight, which kind of sucks, because if it's just happens to be that time of year where they're not feeding up necessarily, and that fish isn't, doesn't have a full belly. And I mean, shit, even like that day, like what the contents of its stomach, what did it have, right before you caught it? Like that comes into effect too. But like with length, that's it. It's not like they shrink,
No.
So,
for sure.
That's why I feel like for really good record keeping, I think that length is the way to go, because it gives you a good indication of the actual quality of that fish and the potential. Because you could catch a long, skinny fish, and maybe that fish, maybe the forage just isn't there, But it's still a quality fish, because length is. Somewhat, you have to assume it's somewhat tied to the age of that fish, and along with age is experience. Those are smarter fish; they've seen more. They're harder to catch, and there's less of them. So I'm talking.
So
out
I know
my ass.
Shawn the fisherman keeps a fishing log, and I know you guys do too.
Yep.
I just started doing it this past season.
Yes.
What are like a couple of the most important points you want to keep record of?
I would say, I mean, in my opinion, obviously the more data that you can do, the better. But I would say that, obviously you want to record the size of the fish, whatever that might be. So if you're recording length,
like length and weight.
Yeah, if you can do both, that's even better. Obviously you want to know the date and the time. You want to track what you caught it on and what the structure was. And also the weather, and what's been going on. Some folks pay attention to like the moon phase, all that stuff. But if you can capture all that information, is relatively easy to get even after the fact. Like you can look it up online and get the information. But try to dial it in as locally as you can to get that. I think that's among the most important thing. Other than that. Yeah, other than that, I think the general rule of the more data that you can get, the better is going to help you overall. And and it's true. It's like, and being able to access that. I have to, it's funny. It's actually not funny. It's kind of upsetting, but I have to do a hard restart on my database this year. Because I had been using FishBrain to do all of my stuff. And I got a new phone recently, and I think that the FishBrain app doesn't like the iPhone 15 because I, for weeks, have not been able to even log in or look at any of the data, like the waypoints that I set up, any of that stuff. Yeah, it's just not functioning.
That sucks,
yeah,
dude.
it does. It really sucks because it had all my personal best for all my species laid out, all that stuff. I mean, I have a lot of that information, and I can go back and get some of that, but I'm going to just do a hard restart and just start dialing in on what it is that I'm doing and what it is that I'm working with. But also, like, I don't compete to fish other than the multi-species tournament series. That's as competitive as I really like to get. That's not my primary reason for fishing is the competition. It's just more about enjoying it and the adventure. It's way more about the recreation side of it. Now,
I agree with that.
Have you done any tournaments?
So I did one tournament, let's see, 2022, and it was a boat tournament. And man, it was a 3-day cold front. And we got there. We pre-fished one day. We didn't catch anything. And then tournament day, we got our butts kicked. And that was about it, man. It was brutal, but now I know what I don't want to do.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes the value in that is immense. It goes a long way to just say like, okay, well, I tried it. I know this isn't for, what I want to do. It's and there are other folks.
Yeah, the experience was fun.
Yes, exactly. I agree with that.
Like kind of like I want to start getting into what you guys do, like the multi-species and stuff like that.
Dude, I recommend it. This year is going to be amazing. This is the first year where the entire year is going to be every single month is a brand new multi-species scavenger hunt. And my goal this year, and this is part of the reason why I started pushing it and promoting it even now, is to get people aware of it, so that we can start getting more and more folks into it, because the more people that are involved, number one, the more fun it is, and the more we can engage with listeners and stuff. Number two, it means that the more people we have involved, the more prizes we can do for the raffles at the end, which I think are some of the best parts. So if you don't land in the money, you're eligible to win raffle prizes, which is pretty awesome. And some of these prizes are pretty great. Yeah. Especially like
that part is cool.
They're very, very cool because it's if nothing else, it's like go for it. And if you are like one of these seasoned, bass tournament anglers, and you're like, yeah, I want to get into this. This is a great, even though we kind of try to make it as newbie friendly as possible, and understand that some people are just getting their feet wet in competitive fishing. For those seasoned folks that are like, yeah, I want to be involved. If you're out doing a bass tournament and you lay into a chain pickerel or a pike or something like that, and you're just in that bass tournament and there's no lunker for that species or something, it's kind of a waste of your time, really. But at least if you hook into this fish and you're in the multi-species scavenger hunt, well, now that bycatch may have some value. It might get you somewhere else. So it kind of takes
instead of just going to waste.
Exactly, because then you're just like, oh, cool. Here's a slime dart. I'm going to throw it in here, or something like that.
Right.
So it works out pretty well. Some people, you never know what people can catch as bycatch. Shawn the fisherman has caught just 20-pound carp on Ned rigs fishing for smallies. Like, it can happen, and you're like, what the? Yep. This year I caught a bullhead catfish with a, what was it? I think it was a beetle spin, and I was looking for rock bass. I was in the right area, and it happened to bite. I was like, well, that's a point, dude. I was here for a point. I'm gonna take it.
Dude, I caught one on a finesse jig, which is kind of weird this summer. I never caught a catfish before.
Oh yeah. I mean,
like, what the heck? It hit like a bass and it fought really hard.
Yeah. Oh, they fight really hard. They're strong fish.
Oh, these are catfish.
For their size, they are. Yeah, they are really, really strong fish, and they
really are.
They eat everything. It's amazing to me the stuff that they will just put down.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
And like you said, that kind of goes back to the stomach contents and everything with how heavy they are.
Oh yeah. It's all got to be taken into consideration. That's what it is.
I learned a lot from that Alex Rudd episode that you guys put out.
Oh, man. Alex is the best. I love having him on the show.
Dude, I'm a big fan now.
Yeah, he's a good dude, and I think Alex is he's built different than other content creators. He's
He's like a John D of his own.
In a big time, he really is. And I mean, I'm thankful for him in a lot of ways. Like, if it wasn't for Alex, I never would have been in touch with Caleb Bell and taken that amazing trip to Chickamauga and had that experience. And like, he's just he's a wicked good guy. I value his friendship a lot. He is a good dude.
For sure.
Let's talk about, like, when you're going out, typically what's your rod and reel arsenal like?
So this past season, I got into a BFS setup. So
sweet.
I like to bring that with me for my lighter stuff like Ned rig.
Mm-hmm.
I run a 7'2" medium spinning rod made by Luz.
Yep.
And then I run the American Hero Luz spinning reel.
I love that reel.
Dude, isn't it so great?
Dude, it's the best $30 you're going to spend. I mean, I love that reel.
It's great. Yeah. And then, dude, I can't believe I found another person that actually knows of it.
Yeah. Oh, dude, it's my favorite spinning reel that I own. It is my hands down.
It's very durable, very durable.
Oh, unbelievable. And it's fast. I think it's a 6-speed reel.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
And then I'm running a Shimano SLX reel.
Yep.
On a 7.5 Guggen rod.
Nice.
Which I really like. That's my pike rod.
Nice.
I got a 65-pound Suffolk braid.
There you go. Yeah, there you go.
There's my gut. Because, dude, I'm in that same ballpark. It's risky throwing bass tackle for pike.
Oh, definitely, yeah. It's a gamble.
And then for my, all-around, bladed jigs and everything, I use a 7'2" Luz smash combo.
Oh, there you go. Nice.
The bright red one.
Yep.
Yeah.
I have a smash spinning reel, and I like it because that's the reel that I use for my drop shot stuff. So I immediately know right away. I'm like, that's the drop shot rig. Just look around. I just need a glance.
Yeah, dude, I'm a big fan of Luz.
Yeah, Luz does make a great product. I will give them that. Shawn the fisherman loves the Luz. I forget which series it is that he uses, but he's all in when it comes to Luz bait casters.
Yeah.
I don't think I've got any Luz bait casters. I've got a couple of Luz rods and a couple of different spinning reels, and I like them a lot. I really, really do.
I like their Dock Sniper spinning reel or spinning rod.
Oh, yeah. Nice. I'm not familiar with it. I'll have to check it out.
One.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out. That's awesome, dude. So, yeah, I mean, especially going out for pike. Yeah, so what is that, 7.5? That's a heavy?
Yeah. It's a heavy extra fat.
There you go. Nice. That's awesome, dude. I mean, I think it's freaking great. I love pike fishing. I love the fact that you led with, I love pike fishing and bass fishing. I think that's freaking awesome.
Yeah, it originally started with trout.
Yep.
And then it kind of snowballed into bass fishing.
Yep.
And now it's kind of bass fishing and pike fishing I'm on to right now.
So when you were trout fishing, this always intrigues me because, you know, as multi-species anglers or as bass anglers, like we have a mindset of, you know, trying to be versatile in our presentations and things. I find that like when it comes to trout anglers that fish with conventional tackle, you know, spinning gear and stuff like that, it's a little bit more like, especially if we're using artificial, it's a little bit more focused on a handful of baits. But then like when you get into fly fishing, it's a whole other thing. Were you fly fishing ever or how when you got into trout fishing, how did it go?
I never thought about getting into it until recently. I kind of want to mess with it next season.
Gotcha.
But I was always like a Mets inline spinner.
Oh yeah,
type guy.
Dude, home run. Yeah,
like,
I love those.
Just jerk baits.
Jerk baits are unbelievable. Like this tiny Rapalas are fantastic.
Yeah,
they really are.
Dude, or the ones that look like crawfish.
Yep.
Like the little Rebel brand ones. Dude, those are good.
They are insane. I'll tell you. So this year, there's a river nearby me that is renowned as one of the best trout fisheries, and mainly by fly anglers. You'll get some guides out there with their boats, bringing clients out and stuff. And it's not a big river at all, but there is a great. It comes off of a huge reservoir, and there is a trout population in this body of water that is like legendary. It's out of this world. And I have struggled. I grew up in a town right alongside the banks of this river. And it's just been a challenge of mine. This year, I finally made some breakthroughs over there and I decided to take my kayak out.
Yeah, I remember hearing you talk about this.
You know how I caught most of my trout this year?
How's that?
Finesse swim baits.
Okay, like the swimmer that you're talking about.
Yeah, like that 2-inch, that snacky swimmer, that was a monster. But also like the 3-inch Kitex with I think it's Madmouth Fishing has this screw lock style square like a mushroom jig, like a Ned, right? And I was just like, you know, this thing would fit a 2.8-inch Kitex perfectly. Oh, and it does. And if they're moving, you know, you can use that to try to get bit. But I've noticed like just dragging it along a rocky bottom will get hammered. It'll just absolutely get destroyed. And I'm like, am I onto something that's like, this is a lot of fun because it's a style of fishing I really enjoy. I love finesse swim baits.
Yeah.
And when they hit it, they just hit it like so violently. And
even if it's trout.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you know, I will say the biggest trout that I've caught this year were a couple of these rainbows.
That were delicious, by the way.
A couple of rainbows that I had caught, and I caught those on, I think it was either a Mepps inline spinner or it was, because I kind of went a little crazy at Walmart and I bought a bunch of inline spinners, a bunch of different brands, but most of them were about an 1/8 ounce, you know, and I was just playing around with like blade colors and I happened to get on a combination that worked out really, really well. And dude, it was just absolutely amazing. There was another guy this one specific day who had the same idea as I did. He was like, the season's starting to wind down. Let's get out and just fill a cooler and get a limit and call it a day. And that's what went on. And I don't even know what he was throwing, but man, this inline spinner was just absolutely killing him. I did notice, I did notice that throwing the spinnerbait, I get a little bit further distance for casting, so I can actually cover a little bit more water. That versus throwing like a super light inline spinner. But I've been throwing like heavy ones too. Like when I was up in northern Maine, that's what I caught. All the fish I caught on that day, I caught a bunch of Lakers and I caught a couple of smallmouth too on like these 1/2 ounce huge inline spinners. And it was a blast. One of them was one of the dual blade ones. Have you ever seen these?
Yeah, those are crazy looking.
Oh yeah, like one black blade, one chartreuse blade, and it's just like chop through the water. It is insane. I actually throw that on a bait casting ring. I actually want to start
throwing beetle spins for multi-species.
Dude, it's a blast. On your BFS, you're gonna have a field day with it.
Yeah, and I think it was Chrissy Outdoors, like way back in the beginning of the summer. You guys were talking about it. You guys were out. You guys were killing it.
She got me into that, and I'm a believer. You know, I'm a believer. I'll find, like, I'll take them apart and make different combinations of different jigs and different plastics and stuff like that. But, oh, yeah. And,
you know, if you like the beetle spin, you should try the Lunker Hut 1/4 ounce finesse spinner bait. It's the exact same. It just comes with a 1/4 ounce Ned head.
Yeah.
and you can play with that one all sorts of crazy too.
I'll check that out, especially for deeper water. That is huge because that little it comes with they're the ones that I'm buying. They come with like a 1/32 or a 1/16 ounce weight, which is great for shallow water. But when you need it deeper or you need it to get down there faster, switching that out for a 1/4 ounce is huge. Even an 1/8 ounce makes a huge difference. I'll have to check that out. Yeah. So I actually want to dive in.
I'll send you a link.
Yeah, definitely. I want to dive in a little bit about BFS because this year, that's one of my focuses is to get more into BFS, primarily so that I can keep one of my spinning combos set for a drop shot. So I've got it rigged at all times. This is mainly for kayak fishing. And then my other spinning combo is more for finesse jigs, neds, things like single hook style baits. I'm looking to use BFS primarily as a moving presentation. So small jerk baits, small cranks, finesse swim baits that are moving, and all that stuff. I'm looking around at a couple of different combos, or a couple of different, I should say, components to put a combo together. What are you running for your BFS, and what do you think of it so far? And what would you change?
So I haven't got to mess around with the lighter BFS rods yet.
Yep.
Because I was gifted the reel. So
I gotcha.
I'm not 100% sure on the make of the reel right now.
Yep.
But I'm using a 7'2", 6-gill rod.
Okay.
Which the rods, I do not mind the rods at all. I like 6-gill rods.
Yep.
But their reels, they're a piece of work. Like, they work good when they work good, but if they get water in them, they don't want to work at all.
They're done. Gotcha.
Yeah. But so I've been running a 7'2" medium heavy, and I've been throwing a lot of like crappie baits on.
Oh, really?
6 Cents just come out with the Pecos, which is like an 1/8 ounce underspin.
Yep.
And I've been having a field day throwing that thing with like 8-pound braids with like a 2 or 3 foot leader.
No kidding.
And one thing you'll notice is they have really shallow spools.
Yeah, that's
so
the BFS
really
stuff.
shallow.
Yeah, they do. And that's specifically to be able to handle like, casting super, super light baits, which I think
which is crazy because you can dial them in so different.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's amazing that you're able to throw baits that light on a medium heavy. That's pretty freaking crazy.
Dude, you'll have fun just doing it like that because you can't believe that you can do it,
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking at, there's 2 different setups that I'm looking at. There's this Daiwa BFS reel that I'm looking at. That's much more bougie. And, that's like hey, we'll get there someday type reel. There's a reel that's out there. It's called the Dark Wolf, and it's relatively affordable. And it got really, really good feedback from Burley at Aggressively Average Anglers podcast. They did a video breaking down different BFS components, and that kind of gave me some inspiration. Like, that's a good place to start. So I'm interested in that reel. It's super, super light. Like super, super light physically.
Dude, it's actually crazy on how light these setups can be.
Yeah.
You get an ultralight rod, and then you get a BFS reel.
Yeah.
And man, you can grab 5 or 6 of them and go around the whole bank, and you can't even tell.
Oh yeah. It is. It's nuts, and that's sort of what I'm trying to dial in is more like, okay, so when I'm looking to find fish, this is what I'll be throwing. Like, I'll be throwing the moving presentations. This is what I'm going to use to cover water. It's more of a comfort thing, drop shot fishing and a spinning rod. Like, I find that if I'm working like a small jerk bait on a spinning combo, just the way that I have to hold the rod, I get a lot more pain, carpal tunnel.
Yep.
So for me, it's a lot more comfortable to be able to palm that BFS reel and just work a jerk bait or a spook even, work it all day with that type of a grip than it is on a spinning reel. Yeah. But everybody's different. Like, that's the thing about fishing. There's so much of it that's personal preference.
Well, one thing that I've had a hard time with is working certain baits on the kayak that I'm fishing with. Whether it's a jerk bait or stuff like that. Jerk baits mainly.
I could definitely see that. A lot of that do you find it has to do with the length of the butt section of your rod, like getting caught up either? Yep.
Yeah, I think that plus, you're sitting like right at water level.
Yeah, that's true.
So, like, I made a long cast this summer with like a weightless frog.
Yep.
And I was reeling it over the top of the water. And I had one blow up on it. Well, I was so far away and I was sitting so low.
Yeah.
That I think something didn't line up there.
Yeah, that's got to be a challenge, especially. I'm looking actually at your Instagram right now. You're holding up a largemouth sitting in your kayak, and you are right at the surface of the water. That's tough.
Yeah.
You know, have you, now I'm curious about this because the challenge I've always had is when I sit in a sit-in kayak like that, I have about 45 seconds before my legs go completely numb.
Oh, dude, it's painful.
It's nuts. I've always been curious about this. I haven't done it because I've been fishing and sit on top kayaks now for a while. But back in like when my father used to hunt, like forever ago, I remember he had this little like seat. It was like styrofoam you could sit on, and it would keep you warm essentially. But it's all it was styrofoam in a like a pillow almost, but it was like a rubberized plastic outside, like a seat cushion. Now I'm wondering if you were to put one of those in there, if it would boost you up enough to kind of relieve some of that tension, but also give you a little bit more advantage. Because I'm telling you, man, you get into a sit on top kayak, it's game over. It's game over. You're going to be like, I can't believe it. I can't believe it.
So now for an entry level kayak, a sit on top, what would you recommend? For
a sit on top kayak, entry level? I would say, in all seriousness, depending on budget, right? Because budget is going to change things. What I would do is I would look into, if you're just getting into it to see, like if you were a person that wasn't already in a sit down kayak and kind of doing all this stuff, I would say go out and look for like a secondhand, like a Send 12T, something like that. You know,
like a Bass Pro.
Yeah, something along those lines. You know, pick it up used, try it out, give it a whirl. But I'm going to tell you this much. I don't think, because you're already doing the paddle game, don't waste your money on a paddle kayak unless it's set up for you to buy a pedal drive later. Because I will go on record as saying that I think if you like to fish, you got to get a pedal kayak. If you like to paddle, get a paddle kayak and a fishing rod. You know what I mean? Like, I really do feel like there is such a difference between being able to manipulate your boat at all and keep both hands available to, you know, either work a lure or fight a fish. I feel like there's such a difference between a paddle kayak and a pedal kayak. I think that you're going with a pedal kayak is well worth the investment. And like the fact that you're already on the water right now, I would say for you, like look into something like a Bonafide, you know, what is it, the SS127, something like that, or. You know, I mean, even if you were to look into like some of the hoodoo stuff or some of that stuff that's a little bit more budget oriented, but like if you know you're going to do this, I would recommend get a boat that you're going to be in for a little while. In fact, you know, like if you've got an outfitter near you, because I mean, if you were local, I'd 100% tell you go and visit, you know, Three Bells Outfitters and try them out. Yeah. But I would recommend you go and find the hull, you know, the shape that you want. Go to a spot where they have water nearby and you can do some kind of a demo. You might have to wait for a demo day or something like that where they do this specifically on a body of water. But I would recommend go and try it out and get a little bit of an idea of a layout, because it's when you get into a fishing kayak, because real estate is at so much of a premium, it's not I'm going to rig this out and then go fishing and it's going to be perfect. It's the same thing like I say with like overlanding and stuff. It's an evolution. So you got to start off, find out where
start somewhere.
Yeah, find out where the problem spots are. So, you know, don't go and buy like, you know, oh yeah, I'm going to get this, you know, a Yak Attack Black Pack and I'm going to get all these rod holders and set them up. It'll tell you over time just by fishing where you actually need and what's effective for you to place the rods for storage, where you're going to put your tackle or your tools, any kind of accessories. So I would say start small. Like I would look into something like a Bonafide or a Feel Free is a great place to start. The native slayers people love. They really, really
Yeah,
love
okay.
them.
I've heard good things about those.
Yeah, I know a lot of people that get into the Native Slayer, and they love them. Jackson makes really great kayaks as well. But yeah, if you look into a boat that even Hobie, like if you find that you're a Hobie person where you're like, you know, I'm fishing a lot of shallow stuff and I'm fishing stuff where I don't want to have that rigid prop underneath me. I want these fins to be able to fold up if I hit something underneath, and you're okay with not being able to pedal backwards immediately and having to switch it over.
Right.
Get it. Look into like a Hobie Mirage. You know, I know. I think Andrew from Tackle Talk picked up a Hobie Mirage and he loves it. You know, versus like me, I'm in a Native Titan, and that thing is, you know, it's 41 inches wide and it's a bass boat built for one. It's a tank, you know. So I would try.
You got quite a bit of room in it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Like at 300 pounds, I can stand up confidently in this boat. And, you know, I don't fish in standing up in my kayak very often because my seat is set at the highest level. So standing up is easy motivation. I get like really, really good angles while I'm fishing, and a lot of freedom there. So for me, you know, it's all about finding the right hull for you. But I would recommend look into like one of those major brands in a pedal kayak. And if you're like, yeah, I can't do the budget, because some of the pedal drive systems alone are insane as far as the expense. But if this is something that you're doing, I think you'll be happier if you take the time to do it and then work out like a finance option or something to make it happen, or, you know, whatever it is you got to do, or, you know, find out the right hull. And if you can find one used, go for it. But that's your biggest resource, your local outfitter that is going to allow you to check and try some shit out.
Try some stuff out before.
Try it out. Yep.
Okay.
And cool. I would definitely say a pedal kayak, that is your move. I think you're gonna appreciate it so much more than anything else.
Okay. So I was curious, what kind of PFD are you wearing?
So I am using is it a Mustang? No, it's an Onyx. I'm wearing one of those.
Okay, that's what I'm running.
Yeah, it's an Onyx. It's one of the inflatable styles with the CO2 cartridge.
Okay.
It's basically just because it's super light, and, you know, I can wear it all year round. I am starting to. I still have there's another like non-inflatable style that I have that I think I picked up at Bass Pro when I got my very first kayak when I got that, and it was just, it's got like, it's just not the right fit for kayak fishing. It's got a full padded back. It's got, you know, but it's nice because there's storage on it and stuff. I am considering getting one of those NRS ones that have all the storage and everything. And I'm thinking primarily for like early in the season and also late in the season, mainly because that material in front of you is insulating, you know? So it's it'll keep you warmer. That's exactly it. I'm like, yeah, this way I can wear whatever, and my PFD will act as another layer on top of all that. But then we get into the summer season, and I've got the inflatable that I can use, which will deploy when I hit the water. And I know that there's folks that say like, oh, well, it can fail. I mean, you know, yeah, that's true. It can, but I mean, it'll definitely fail if I'm not wearing it. So at least by me wearing this one, you know.
Rather be safe than sorry.
Exactly, man. You never know.
I always hear you guys talking about that.
And it's true, man. We see people all the time that are like, oh, yeah, but it's nice. It's 60 degrees out. And I'm like, what's that water temperature? You know, 50 in change? Yep. Oh, well, you know, yeah, that is cold enough to where your body's going to react on a physiological level. And you're going to say, as soon as you get into the water, and if your face is in that water, guess who's drowning now? You know? Yep. It's crazy. Oh. It is. Goodness, man. Goodness. Oh, so let's get into, I have this question. I haven't asked a guest this question in a while, and I'm anxious to kind of see what you think. So let's just imagine right now that myself, Shawn the Fisherman, Who the Fuck is Joe Brown, we're on I-90 West with a mission, just Metallica blaring out the windows. We're coming to pick you up, and we're going to go fishing at an unnamed body of water in your area. We're going to take you to your favorite local fishing shop, and we're going to get you all rigged up. Now, you can use every lure in your tackle box. You can use whatever you've got for line. You can use, it doesn't matter. The only thing is you can't bring any rods or reels, but you have to build your single-use combo. So rod and reel, and then what are you spooling it up with?
Rod and reel. What am I spooling it up?
Yeah. What are you choosing for your
I
rod?
would probably. So for me, I think a 7'2" or a 7'3" is like a perfect go-to.
Yep.
And then I would probably pair it with like a 6-4-1 or maybe like a 7-speed.
Okay.
And then I'd probably spool it up with like 17-pound TR 4.0.
Gotcha.
That's probably.
There you go. There you go, man. Now,
that's what we like to run, yeah.
What are you, like, what brand? Because remember, this will be on the Jigs and Bigs corporate card. What, is there a specific rod or reel that you would choose?
If I had to go with I would probably go with a, man, that's hard to say.
Right.
There's so many nice ones on the market now.
Oh, so
maybe
many.
like a 13 Fishing Omen.
Oh, there you go. All right.
Probably.
Solid.
And then I really want to check out the new, man, what reel is it? It's jogging my memory. It's the new, I think it's the Hyper Mag from Lose.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's popular too.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, dude, they are. Or the TI, the Pro TI.
Yep. Yeah, that's freaking solid reel, dude. Nice. Good job. Yeah. That's badass, dude.
Sure.
I love it. So now we've reached that point in the interview where I'm looking for primarily two stories for you, and I think you know where this is going. The first story that we want is that moment where you're like the most proud of, let's say you're at an event and you meet somebody, like that first story you're going to lead with about fishing. When somebody says, "Oh, you fish?" and that's that first story that you're going to lead with. The second story I want is the biggest. That biggest moment, the epic fail.
All right. We'll start with the one event. I would probably start with my PB when I was fishing at a lake close to where I live.
Yep.
And we were in a pretty big drought. And there's some crappie structure about 30 or 40 feet from the fishing dock. And the water levels are so low, you could see the structure. Well, I was taking a swim jig and I was casting it to the back side of that. And I caught my PE on the back side of that structure. And 7 pounds, 5 ounces. My biggest bass from around here.
That's badass.
And then let's see, probably my most disappointing fishing story.
Yep. Oh, God.
I was bank fishing one day, and I forgot my net at home. And I was fishing with a drop shot, and I was catching them like crazy. I got one all the way up to the dock, and I went to wrap my hand around the line and lift him up, and I popped the hook out of his mouth.
Oh, really?
And it was like a 4-pounder probably.
Oh, that sucks.
And I just tried to flip him over the dock.
Yep.
But yeah, he shook the hook.
That does suck, man.
Dude, and it's the only time I forgot my net.
Yeah, I try to say, it's funny. Dave Erkey, he got into a new kayak this year and was asking a bunch of folks, and the first thing I said was like, okay, so after a PFD, a net. It's the most important thing. When I see dudes that are fishing in a kayak and they don't have a net, I'm like, man. Like, that's when you're going to... What are you doing? When you're reaching down to lip a tank, that's when you're going to flip your boat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if nothing... Like, that. Let's be honest. That's what it is. That's when you're going to flip your boat. So, you're better off having a net. And then not only are you able to secure that you've got that fish, but now you can, like... compose yourself so that you can measure the fish and do everything. You've got a safe, secure...
pictures.
Yeah, all of that shit. It's like, I think a net is
it's kind of like having pliers and line cutters,
Which
that stuff goes hand in hand. You gotta have that stuff.
It's all of it. It's all of it. It's all that stuff. I love, I always give, I'm always talking to Becca and I always tell her the same thing. I was like, your kayak videos, you never ever have I can't count the amount of times. And she was in a wreck kayak too. Like when you were in, I'm like, she's dropped fish in there with her. And I'm like, what are you doing? Like you drop like a pickerel or a pike in there or a bowfin. I'm like, that could be bad. You could lose a toe. Okay, maybe not lose a toe, but you know what I mean?
I dropped a dink under my seat one time in my recreational kayak.
Oh, that sucks.
I had to go dock it and get him out.
That's rough. See, that's one nice thing too about the sit on tops. I run my sit on top with the scupper plugs out all the time. So if any water comes in, I just want it to flow right out. I caught caught this little micro bass on a beetle spin, looking around for other panfish, and it just absolutely crushed this thing. And those fish, their mouths, they're hard to hook. Like their mouths are, I don't know if there's like just they haven't developed yet necessarily, but like those hooks don't always penetrate, and they flip, and their body weight just, they can go flying off these hooks so fast. Well, this fish lands in the floor of my boat, and a little bit of water was there, and he happened to just scoot right down the scupper hole, and I was like, that's awesome. Because I was like, if he would have landed under my seat, that would have been a mess, you know?
Oh yeah, it gets messy quick.
It does. It really does. I keep a lot of tackle and a lot of like bags of soft plastics and stuff. I'm like, I would 100% have to go to the bank and just dig through to find this fish. Yeah, 100%.
Oh, dude, a little bonus story real quick, if I can do it quick.
Go for it. Yeah.
So I'm fishing a drop shot, right? Right off of a point. And he breaks me off. It was my last drop shot plastic. So I go back to the loading ramp, and you know how they get that real like mossy cover on them?
Oh yeah.
Well, I used to not wear shoes in my kayak. Like I would wear shoes, but then I would take them off once I was in the kayak.
Yep. Yeah.
Well, I jumped off of the kayak and I went to turn around and grab something.
Yep.
And I slipped on the loading ramp, and I tore a muscle in my foot.
Shit.
And dude, I started bleeding everywhere, and I gathered myself. I grabbed my bait. I went back to the same spot where I just lost the fish.
Yep.
I hooked up on that same largemouth. He was about 4 pounds.
No shit.
Dude, I was all beat up, and I decided to go back out.
Holy shit, that's dedication.
And we got kayak racks on top of the car.
Yep.
And I was like, well, I can either load them injured, or I can just wait and go try to catch another fish. And yeah, dude, we made it happen.
That paid off. Did he still have that drop shot hook in his mouth?
He did, yep. I caught him, and
awesome.
He still had it in the corner of his mouth.
Oh, that is awesome, dude. Nice.
Dude, yeah.
That's wild. That's badass.
Yeah,
and he ate again.
I was all beat up.
Oh yeah. What time of year was it?
Now I wear the what is it? The extra tough boots or whatever.
Oh yeah, those are great.
But I've heard you guys talk about them. I want to get into some of the different water shoes that they have.
Oh man, there's so many. Yeah. There's so many, and they're great because the idea is you want them to drain quick, but you just want that extra layer of protection, you know?
Yeah. Yep.
That's awesome, dude. Carter, this is great, dude. That is awesome. Do me a favor and just shout out again those companies that you're working with, and let folks know where if they want to follow you, check out some of the content that you're making, all that stuff. Take this moment to kind of promote yourself a little bit.
All right, cool. If you guys want to follow me, you can find me on Instagram and YouTube at Real SD Outdoors. Couple of companies I want to shout out are Jigs Fishing Inc. He does custom fishing baits. If you need to pick up any soft plastics or custom soft plastics, reach out to Stump for Soft Plastics.
Yep.
He makes some good ones. If you're looking for any terminal tackle, Wicked Weights I would recommend. And then for any of your apparel needs, Rigged and Ready's there for you.
Love it, dude.
Other than that, I think that's about it.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Well, hey, thank you so much for doing this, dude. I appreciate it. This is
no problem, man. Thank you much for having me on.
Yeah, this is like the cornerstone of what this show is really all about. It's just sharing fishing stories, getting to know people that share an interest that I'm crazy about. Like, this is awesome. And if we ever connect and do any fishing in South Dakota, I'm going to hit you up, and we're gonna go and hit some good eats too afterwards, regardless of how the fishing goes.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I'm excited about it.
Oh, it's gonna be good. Do me a favor, man. If you have a picture, especially with that PB, send it over to me, and I'll use it for the cover artwork for the episode. And this podcast is gonna drop on Tuesday, so it's gonna be a real quick turnaround. Cool. It'll be pretty awesome.
All right, cool. Thanks,
awesome,
man. I appreciate it. Will do.
All right, thank you, buddy. Have a good one. Take care. Tight lines.
All right, man. You too. Thanks.
All right, I'll see you. Bye-bye.
Yep, bye.
All Alrighty, guys, we're back at it. Jigs and Bigs, segment number 3. We have that was a great interview with Carter. It was awesome. Check out the artwork here. That is that PB that he had mentioned in that conversation. His most proud moment, and then his epic fail. That was just choice. Beautiful. Well done. Well, Carter, this is for you. Well done. Appreciate you, homie. We were in here just talking with some of the jig heads. We were actually getting to the guts, the nitty gritty of that. I guess the word to say it would go.
In the shadows of a retail environment, who the fuck is Joe Brown? Dropped a nugget of knowledge.
That's to the jig heads. If that's not a reason enough for you to join the jig head fam and get, a lot of access to all kinds of great stuff, then I don't know what to tell you. You should become a jig head. Go over to jigsbigs.com, visit our link tree on the link in our bio on Instagram, and you can become a jig head right there. It's a $5 a month subscription. It gives you access to the live recording live stream, which is an exclusive. It doesn't go everywhere. Pretty much every single show that we do, you guys get to see how the sausage is made. We drop little nuggets here and there, and you get to see stuff that doesn't actually even make the show. So that's pretty cool. We love engaging with you guys as the jig heads comment on YouTube over here. It's awesome that we get to kind of engage with those guys. But I had mentioned before we started recording was Omnia. Now, I have been having a field day with the Omnia fishing website. I've been going and just, filing some fishing reports of some really memorable catches with really unique baits that I had caught them on. Like, oh, this wasn't working, or I'm going to go and fish. I did one where the hot bait was the beetle spin. Which I tend to think I'm probably one of only a handful of anglers that have entered the beetle spin as a hot bait. But I'm telling you, when it comes to the multi-species stuff, it pays off. It does. So I've been going and I've been reviewing some different bodies of water and putting data in there for some stuff that's worked for me and my experiences, and I'm just kind of hoping that this works for folks. But I've also been loading up. I do this all the time. I'm just like my wife when it comes to online shopping. I have a shopping cart on my account, and it's just, there's 35 items in there right now. I think there's $100,000 worth of stuff in maybe not 35, there's multiples of things, things that I'm going to buy anyway, soft plastics and stuff. But I mean, there's a trolling motor in there that I don't have a boat for. You know what I mean? I'm yeah, this would probably be the one, or, we'll see if this one works, shit like that. Because I can't be stopped, and I have a serious problem. So, have you guys done any dicking around on Omnia Fishing to play around with it and kind of check it out?
I ran through the brands one day. I have not. Fishing has been so on the back burner for me.
Yeah, that's kind of what I figured. I was unless Omnia Fishing was getting into coaching supplies and basketballs, I totally understand that. How about you, Joe?
I've been trying to. I really haven't, unfortunately. I've been trying to chill with the money spending after buying a new truck. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I've been trying to chill there. I usually start getting into the purchasing after the holidays, and around February I'll start.
That's exactly why I have started filling up this cart. It's because I think that's exactly when I'm going to go out. My oldest daughter asked me, she's like, Dad, I don't know what I should get you for Christmas this year. She's like, I just keep going back to that Bass Pro gift card was such a good move. And I told her, I was like, no. I was like, gift cards are still great, but what you should really do is get me a gift card for Omnia Fishing or Dark Horse Tackle or, something like that. I'm like, I go, gift cards for fishing stuff are always going to be good. And, that could help me whittle down that shopping cart that I've got at Omnia Fishing. But
one thing we haven't plugged in a while, Bobby?
What's that?
Shawn? Hookset just dropped some new gear.
They did.
Some cool. Yeah. Hookset just dropped some awesome gear. So go check them out too. I really like the shit that they just dropped.
They got a new shirt and I think a
couple
beanie.
Winter hats.
Yeah, a couple of beanies, which is pretty cool. They usually do one every winter, which is pretty awesome, and it helps keep the dome nice and toasty.
Yeah,
that's always a good thing. Yeah, that's pretty awesome, man. I have while we're on the subject of retail, I don't know if you guys have noticed, I'm wearing a new hoodie. I'm wearing an Aftco Shadow hoodie, which is a little bit different than the Reaper. The Reaper is the one that's got that built-in neck gaiter and everything, and it's real buttoned up. The Shadow is a little bit more loose. As far as the way, like the neckline is a little bit more open. It's just more of and it's micro fleece. Like it's great. I love AFTCO because they get the fat guy sizing right. Like they actually do it the right way. This fits me. Like I wear the smallest size in the big guy lineup of stuff that they have. And the sleeves are the right length. Like they're not doubling over my hands or anything like that. Like they do it right. But they got me so good one night. After a little, sesh with the jigglers, I was in my recliner. I think this was actually after dinner one night with Queen Beef. I had just gotten comfortable. I think Hudson had jumped up to sit with me, nice and cozy. And I'm like, I got an email from AFTCO. And it was like, check out these such and such savings. And I noticed something in there that I don't typically see when they're promoting stuff was a big guy shadow hoodie. And these sell out fast. Like they're gone. And then like I've been looking for like this heather color and I'm waiting for them to get a black one back.
Yeah.
Dude, I found these things on sale for like almost half price, maybe even a little bit more than half off. And I was like, really? So I bought two. I'm like, they don't ever go on this. I was like, yeah, I bought two because I like to wear these as like a mid layer for when if I'm camping or something like that because it is it's synthetic, so it does wick moisture really well. It dries really, really fast, but also because it doesn't have that neck gaiter, I don't necessarily overheat with this on. Yep. So it's a good little middle ground. So yeah, they got me pretty good that day. They saw me coming.
To piggyback on the retail thing, and I'll share this on social media, but with you guys first, wait until you see my outfits for the fucking wedding. So,
oh God,
down in Mexico. So it's Tulum, Mexico is much different than the rest of Mexico. It's very like earthy, crunchy or whatever. And the couple is kind of that way. They're fucking a phenomenal couple. I got some great jungle funk attire to go there. It took me a minute to find what I wanted. I finally did, and I'm pumped.
I kind of wish I was DJing this wedding. I kind of do.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my God. I feel like I'm missing out here.
Oh, dude, it's gonna be a fucking blast. I cannot wait.
That's freaking nuts, dude. I think that's about all I got for this show, guys. I think what y'all need to do if you're listening to this show right now and you're like, God, I happen to be in the Western Massachusetts area or nearby enough to go and fill my face with wild boar, elk, venison, and gator. I think maybe it would be a good idea if you go and get your tickets for the 200th Jigs and Bigs episode celebration extravaganza that's happening to raise funds for Veterans Inc. Go ahead and visit jigsandbigs.com. I mean, shit, on your podcast player that you're listening to this show on, I've got a link in there. Get your tickets right there. Just click that link right there. You can get your tickets and be good to go. You'll know that you have a space and that you're ready to rock, and it's all good. I mean, I'm going to go ahead and say this. If you think you want to go, but you're like, I'm not sure if I can make it, you can refund your tickets if you need to. But at least you'll have them ahead of time to know. And then we can say what the head count is going to be. So if you're leaning toward going, I highly recommend you guys get your tickets for this show. And like I said, I've got a plan in order to kind of get a little, some other folks involved that aren't nearby. We'll see what happens. Other than that, I would highly recommend that you guys, get ready for one hell of a good time. And that's what it is all about. Please, if you are catching any fish in your area, tag us in those photos, those videos, and those reels on all platforms. Whether you're on TikTok, I am making a concerted effort to do more with TikTok recently. So I highly recommend if you're sharing stuff there, feel free to tag us in there. We will gladly go and check it out, like, comment, and support what you're doing because you're awesome. And we think all of you guys are awesome. Definitely want you guys to make sure to give us a review over at Apple Podcasts. Rate our show on Spotify. Whatever you're listening to, if you can rate or review it, that would be fantastic. Apple Podcast, of course, is kind of like the hub of all things podcast. So if you've got an Apple device and you're open up that icon, that podcast app, even if that's not where you listen, and leave us a review there. That would be absolutely amazing. I think that about does it, man. I think I'm going to go and get myself some of that apple cranberry crisp. Maybe we have some vanilla ice cream.
On my way.
I'll save you.
Do it.
I'll save you a little bowl. I'll save you just a little sliver.
Yeah.
Alrighty, dudes. Have yourselves a good one, everybody. Thank you so much for checking out this show. We appreciate you more than you realize. We do, in fact, have the best group of listeners and supporters of this wacky little show that we do, and we definitely couldn't do it without you. So we absolutely thank you for that. You guys are absolutely awesome. We'll see you in 7 days with much more good stuff from Jigs and Bigs. Some guests that you have to look forward to. We got Sarah, the closer Parvin. We got we've got Jeff and Paul from the Aggressively Anglers podcast. And who knows? We got a bunch of other guests coming up too that you're not going to want to miss. We'll see you guys when we see you. Have yourselves a good one. And like we always say,
tits and ass, smoke some grass.